Chapter 91. Eldest uncle stuck. Good that they were not here. Xianxia took a rest and after a while started to work in the kitchen. Xianxia and Xiao helped alongside. Miss Su was very happy to see Xianxia making some snacks for her children. She offered to help too, but Xianxia told her to leave. During dinner, dishes including pan-fried lamb chops, stewed radish soup, pan-fried sweet and sour hoof, stir-fried yam slices, stir-fried lettuce, and cold spinach were served. The view made people drool. The barbecue pork was made as well. But it was stored in the kitchen for the next night. When elder uncle saw the table full of meat, he could not help but gasp. Before he could say anything, Xianxia smiled. Don't worry, father, all this was bought with my dowry, not with the shared money. My husband has been studying hard, and our brothers and sisters-in-law are working hard too. We should eat something good. Eldest uncle was stuck with words, and said nothing more. He owed 2 liang to his daughter-in-law and could not possibly ask her to share the food with the other sections of the family. Eldest uncle answered briefly and said, but this is too much for us. He meant that they could give the rest to the second and the third sections of the family, because their children were starving too. Xiao Sanlang pursed his lips. We are all grown-ups. Of course we will be able to finish it all. Dad, the dishes taste great, I will make sure I finish them all. Xianxia chuckled. Seeing that Xianxia had not yet realized what he meant, eldest uncle snapped at his son and said, you only know how to eat. You are getting married soon. Miss Fong rolled her eyes. Just sit down and eat. Eldest uncle fell silent. The lamb chops tasted crisp on the top and the hoofs were not tough to chew. A bite of both of them tasted great. They were soft, sweet and sour at the same time, with a really fragrant taste of the broth. The wok dishes and cold-served spinach were good for appetite. After the whole family was full, they spoke highly of the dishes and did not spare even the broth. Xiao Sanlang looked at elder uncle, as he poured the broth over the rice. Dad, look, I knew I could finish it. Eldest uncle responded in a dark manner. Just shut up. Xianxia tried to hold down her laughter. Back in the bedroom, Xiao Yunduan said to Xianxia. After the Dragon Boat Festival, we will have a competition with dragon boats. The teachers of the school asked me to join. Do you want to watch the game? Xiaoxian's eyes brightened. Is it fun? Xiao Yunduan felt slightly delighted. He knew that it would be interesting for her. He nodded. Yes, and it is going to be festive. Okay. Xiaoxian smiled. I will be there. She had never seen such a show before, and would definitely like to watch it. Moreover, she could make a thorough observation of the local area. Xiao Yunduan smiled. Okay, it is settled then. Yes. Following day, Xiaoxian thought of the batch of watermelon seeds. She struck her head. She should not have forgotten about this. She will take Qi and Tao Tao to the mountain, and bring some watermelon seeds to the yard. There were many watermelon seeds there, and with the help of her superpower, she was going to make the fruits grow fantastically in her field. The watermelons would grow to be numerous, large in size, round and sweet too. Chapter 92. Fifth sister-in-law. Watermelons were not commonly seen things. According to the original host's memory, they only got 2 watermelons at home once and her parents regarded them as treasure. Of course, those precious fruits were eaten by her parents, and the original host did not have the qualification of eating it. But this time, she was going to eat everything. The 3 of them trekked up to Wangqing Mountains, and then Xiaoxian accidentally found the wild watermelon seeds. The seeds were already budding, and there were many veins everywhere, tangled and spread over the ground. They could tell that when the watermelons grow well, there would be many animals and birds flying all over. Xiaoxian said to Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao, this is a very good thing. We can go back and plant some in the yard. They are called watermelons, round, red and sweet. We can even sell them in the town. I am sure that everyone will buy it. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao were not completely convinced by her words. But they were glad to hear that these seeds could be worth the while. That is great. Fifth sister-in-law knows everything and we can earn money again. Let's dig out the seeds. The three of them worked together. Xianxia and Xiao were very proficient in it. It was a simple task, and Xian helped too. Soon, they got enough seeds within 2 hours. Xian left some for the animals in the mountains. Surprisingly, they saw 2 mulberry trees next to the watermelon field. It was a season when mulberry grew well, and many of the fruits had already shown up. Birds loved the fruits, and there were only a few remaining on the trees. Xian's eyes brightened and she said that those fruits could be eaten as well. Xianxia and Xiao trusted her completely. They picked the ugly-looking fruits and put them in their mouths. Instantly, their eyes brightened too. These are so sweet. So tasty. Xian smiled. See, I was not lying to you, right? When the mulberries were picked, Xian decided to bring some back home too. She could duplicate the trees. Hence, they will receive many fruits next year. Moreover, the extra mulberries could be used to make liquor. The seeds were all gathered, tied up into several bunches, and put into the basket. Since they were going to plant the seeds, they decided to go back earlier. They spent 2 more hours in the mountains, where Xiaoqi caught 1 rooster, and then they went to Rabbit Hill together. We can hunt 2 rabbits today and there is no need for more. I can just come here whenever you want to eat it. Xian smiled. Qi, you should never come here alone. It is dangerous here. I need to be here with you, understand? Xian was not bragging. There were dangerous zones in Wangqing Mountains as well. The reason why they never ran into danger was because Xian could scan over the place and help them avoid the dangerous zones within their nearby range. That is how they managed to escape from the beasts-infested areas in the past. What Xian did not know was that Xiaoqi was more capable than he displayed in front of others. He could escape even if he ran into wild boars or tigers. Chapter 93 Fifth Sister-in-Law, so good. Moreover, after 3 years' time, they could even fight for it. Hearing what Xian said, Xiaoqi felt very moved. He nodded and answered. I got it, fifth sister-in-law. Fifth sister-in-law was so concerned about him. She was really nice. But, you have to remember not to lie to me. Of course, fifth sister-in-law. The rabbit nest was full of fat and large wild rabbits, 3 of which became Xiao Zioki's catch. Xiao brought them home. The 3 of them walked for some time before Xian found the fig trees. The trees looked quite like wild-growing trees, but with a special smell. Surprised, she decided to take them home, but the decision startled Xiaoqi and Xiao. The 2 of them tried to stop her. Fifth sister-in-law, we must not take these home. They smell terrible. Xian pointed at the finger-sized green fruits with a smile. The smelly tree you know of is different from this one. That tree doesn't grow fruits, but look at this tree. It has figs which taste good when they ripen. More importantly, the trees were much easier to grow, better than mulberry trees. Even 1 twig could make it grow wildly. Also, the figs tasted good but could not be transported easily. So, they were often dried. Even in the modern time, no fresh figs could be found in the fruit stores that were away from the place where figs were grown. If some fresh figs were transported before they turned ripe, the taste would be much worse. The real, mature figs had a great taste. Xiaoqi and Xiao took a closer look at it and admired the fruit. They are different. Fifth sister-in-law, you are so clever. You know everything. Yes, we were wrong. Fifth sister-in-law, how does fig grow? Does it bloom? Xian smiled. Yes, it blooms, except that the flowers are too small to be seen. Xiaoqi and Xiao came to a realization, and helped Xian to dig the tree. The 3 of them returned home and ran into Ms. Niu, who was wandering about with her grandson in her arms, just as they were about to enter the village. Ms. Niu, who saw them carrying baskets and bags, had her eyes wide and bright. Hey, what all have you got? Ms. Niu tried to dig out what was inside their basket. She saw some mushrooms and melon veins on top. Wild roosters and rabbits were in the bag in Xiao Taotao's hand, whilst Xiao Xian was carrying 2 wrist-thick fig trees under her arms. The 3 of them felt speechless as they saw Ms. Niu's behavior. Xiao Xiaoqi dodged her. Hey, second aunt-in-law. Ms. Niu pursed her lips. What are those seeds for? Why are you carrying them home? For food. Xiao Xian smiled and bragged. The seeds look very fresh, they should taste good. There were all kinds of wild plants in the mountains during this time of the year and in this era. So Xiao Xian loved to bring a lot home every time she went into the mountains. Ms. Niu heard of this before. So she did not suspect Xiao Xian's words. She lost her interest instantly and rolled her eyes, complaining. She, who is born nobly, has no idea what is worth the while and what is not. Ms. Niu cribbed inwardly yet said, so wild roosters and rabbits are in this bag, aren't they? You can hunt more wild animals for us. Look at my grandson, he has lost so much weight. Xiao Xian blinked. But you have so many roosters at home, you can feed them to your grandson too, right? Chapter 94 Teasing Ms. Niu, what are you talking about? Ms. Niu glared at her. Those hens are for eggs, we can't kill them to eat. We are not wasting food at home. Xiao Xian snorted. But Qi of our family is young, and he needs rest. He gets tired too. Our parents feel sorry for him, so do we as brother and sister-in-law. Xiao Xiaoqi added. Yes, my legs feel languished after a full day's running. It takes me several days before I am able to completely relax. The 3 of them laughed. They were obviously teasing Ms. Niu. Annoyed, Ms. Niu shot back. You are countering the senior member of the family. Xiao Xian's face sank, as she said coldly, second aunt-in-law, should we try to seek justice with our parents? You are setting us up. Whenever Qi returns with wild animals, you always speak ill about him when you don't get anything from him. Also, me and Tao Tao, have we ever offended you, second aunt-in-law? Ms. Niu felt even more angry. Xiao Tao Tao had never offended her, and they had taken many things from what Xiao Xiaoqi had hunted, so she should not be blamed. Ms. Niu felt very annoyed by Xiao Xian, whilst she could not utter a single word of complaint. Xiao Xian was too treacherous. Ms. Niu mumbled in anger. I am just saying, what are you being so serious about? I am a senior member and I can, of course, discipline you a little. Xiao Xian immediately reacted. You, as the senior member, can definitely discipline us, if we make any mistakes. But you are ruining our reputation for no reason. Why can't we be upset? Our reputation is important, and it can't be taken as a joke all the time. You can't be deliberately doing it, can you? Will you be happy if my mom keeps ruining Miling's reputation? They have done nothing wrong, why must they be talked about? Then what have we done, second aunt-in-law? Ms. Niu became so furious that she shivered. God-damned Ms. Qiao, she was awful. Xiao Xian's eyes looked cold. Second aunt-in-law, you have to remember not to spread rumors about others. Don't ever forget that you have your own children and grandchildren too. If you offend us severely one day, I am not sure what I will do, for real. She was the daughter of the county magistrate, and if she made such a claim, there would be many people who believed her. Standing right on the spot, Ms. Niu spat seeing them leaving. Ms. Qiao, you goddamned woman. Xiao Xian reached home and dropped 1 rooster and 2 wild rabbits. Then she took the mushrooms for drying. She shared the mulberries wrapped in a broad leaf, for everyone to eat. Miss Fong tried a few and said that they were tasty. Xiao Zhenyan and Xiao Qing felt the same. Miss Fong smiled more brightly when she heard that it was Xiao Xian's achievement. She said, your 5th sister-in-law is a very intelligent person, and has knowledge about everything. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao nodded in agreement. Xian still felt a bit shy hearing the compliments. She flushed and ran away with mulberries in her hands, saying that she was going to share them with Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan had become even more devoted to studies, after being humiliated at the Qiao family. He had sworn that he was going to make it to the next level, so he spent the whole day studying and writing articles. Xian pushed the door and walked in, yet he did not even realize it. Xian did not disturb him either. She closed the door slightly and stood next to him, watching him quietly. The man did not notice her. And she sized him up straightforwardly. The way her husband wrote made him look very attractive. Chapter 95. Good idea. The man had a slender body shape and good physical proportions. When he was seated at the table, he looked concentrated and careful. He was calm as he wrote the characters, and the straight-back manner in which he was sitting made him look graceful and unworldly. He, who had been reading books since a young age, looked no longer like a villager. Xian subconsciously believed that he was going to become someone more than a minor cultivated talent. She believed that he was going to have a promising future. Maybe one day, he was going to press down her parents, like a gigantic tree. Xian was dreaming, when Xiao Yunduan suddenly looked up and met her eyes. Both of them were startled. Xiao Yunduan was taken aback at first. Then his eyes were on her for a long while. Caught red-handed, Xian realized that she had been looking at him in a straightforward way, and it was very embarrassing when she was caught. Oh well. I have picked many mulberries, and they are really sweet. Want to have a try? Xian smiled as she showed the mulberry wrapped in the large leaf, pretending that she was not embarrassed. She could just leave if Xiao Yunduan shook his head. But Xiao Yunduan nodded. Oh really? Let me taste it. Xian. Failing in her plan, Xian had no choice but to step forward. She put down the mulberries in front of him, smiling. They are very sweet. Xiao Yunduan threw a look at her, and put a black, ripe mulberry into his mouth. He bit it open and the sweet juice went across his teeth. He smiled. It is definitely very sweet. I was telling the truth, right? Xian calmed down, seeing his relaxed state. She added with a smile. The mulberries look ugly, but they taste great. Yes. Xiao Yunduan chuckled. You are right. Oh, you can just take your time eating them. I will go and deal with the melon veins, planting melons, I mean. Xiao Yunduan stood up. I can help you, I will eat the mulberries later. Xian blinked and was about to say something, when Xiao Yunduan smiled. I have been studying for half a day, and I need to stretch myself. Xian laughed. It was coincidental, and had already happened numerous times. So, she did not turn him down but said, okay, then, let's go. Xiao Yunduan nodded and left with her. Ms. Niu, who had been so annoyed when countered by Xian, came to the first section of the family with her grandson, out of curiosity. Seeing Ms. Fong and Ms. Su drying the mushrooms, Ms. Niu could not help but speak up. Can the mushrooms be eaten? You will get poisoned. Ms. Fong snorted. None of your business. Ms. Niu persisted and said, honestly, elder sister-in-law, why don't you tell your daughter-in-law not to go into the mountains for useless work? She always brings back wasteful stuff, so she gets no time to hunt. If Xianxia could spend more time hunting for roosters and rabbits, then they could be shared with her family. Ms. Fong laughed out of anger. I don't care what my daughter-in-law is doing. What is your position in talking about her? If you want more wild animals, you can go and hunt them yourself. Chapter 96. Bad daughter-in-law. Ms. Niu added to her list of complaints. It is Qi who is stingy. He is hiding his skill. If he had taught Erlang and Silag how to hunt in the mountains, everything would be great. Miss Fang's face sank. Ms. Niu, you can discuss with Mr. Zhao about this, but shut your mouth in front of me. Mr. Zhao only recognized Qi as a talent, and only offered to teach his skills to Qi. At that time, when they saw Qi gaining a lot of things every time he came back from the mountains with Mr. Zhao, they were eager to do the same. The second section of the family only had one son, who was studying and did not want to do this kind of work. But third uncle offered to learn the skills himself, and Erlang as well as Silang from the second section of the family chipped in as well. But Mr. Zhao did not think that they were talented enough, so he turned them down straightforwardly. Second uncle and third uncle got so annoyed that they kept causing trouble in front of the first section of the family and making complaints about Mr. Zhao, seeing that he was alone in the village. They were unconvinced about his decision. Xianxia was so young, what could he do? Why did Mr. Zhao accept only him as the disciple? Was he saying that they were worse than a pint-sized boy? However, though Mr. Zhao was no longer as popular and influential as before, he was still capable of disciplining a couple of villagers. So, he taught both of them a lesson quietly, before they decided to give up. Mr. Zhao was a very skilled man, who knew that he could not face the world like before, but he did not want to die without sharing his skills. Hence, when he spotted a talented boy like Qi, he thought about imparting his knowledge to the boy. He taught Xiaoqi how to do martial arts, which was much more difficult and powerful than hunting. But he did not allow him to reveal to anyone that he knew martial arts. That second uncle and third uncle were disciplined by him was known only to the two of them. They were so scared that they did not dare do anything. Neither Ms. Niu nor Ms. Ma ever understood why their husbands gave up. That was why Ms. Niu remained unconvinced about the matter and started to crib about it again. She became rather irritated when she heard what Ms. Fang said. She was about to counter her when she saw Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan coming. She closed her mouth instantly, snorted and left with one rabbit in her hand. Ms. Qiao was not a good daughter-in-law. She was going to defend her mother-in-law and fight her. It was not worth the while for her to stay and listen to her speech. It was her own fault that she did not have a powerful daughter-in-law. Her daughter-in-law only knew how to take things from her home to her mother's family. What a horrible comparison. Miss Fang was asked by Qiao Xian to plant melons in the yard. Hence, they all went to do the work together. Miss Fang was glad to hear that she had got watermelon veins. She knew what winter melons were, but not watermelons. Hearing the explanation from her daughter-in-law, she realized that it must be a sweet kind of melon that could be eaten without being cooked. She looked at her daughter-in-law and felt that she was going to make a large amount of money again, which made her feel really happy. So, she asked Xiao Taotao and Ms. Su not to reveal a thing to anyone else in the family. Qiao Xian arranged it so that the melon was put next to the grapevine. It was a very broad place, and with her superpower, she was going to make sure the melons would grow well. Xiao Xiaoqi, Xiao Taotao, and Ms. Shua offered help too. Fifth sister-in-law, what should we do with the veins? Ms. Su was very satisfied with Qiao Xian. She was more than willing to help with labor and laundry as well. Chapter 97. Glad after all, Qiao Xian had pitched in a lot towards the shared properties, and they had taken great advantage of it. Also, Qiao Xian was generous enough to offer Xiao Zhenyan and Xiao Qing many snacks, and she even told them not to let their father-in-law know in case he would ask them to share those with the second and the third section of the family. Ms. Su was very grateful to Qiao Xian. Qiao Xian said with a smile, "There are no rules, but start planting from this spot and don't put them too close to each other. Veins won't grow properly then." They did not need to put them too neatly. Also, she was not very good at planting herself. Ms. Su and the others were a bit surprised. Ms. Su could not help but say, "But, isn't that too casual? We need to have rules for planting crops. This is just too, elder sister-in-law, just do as she says, it will be fine." Xiao Yunduan said. It was her yard and she could do whatever she wanted and however she wanted, as long as she was happy. Ms. Su was about to say something but eventually let out a small okay. Her sister-in-law was too relaxed in crop planting, so was her brother-in-law who just let her do whatever she wanted. Qiao Xian smiled at Xiao Yunduan and said, "Let's start it now." Okay. The planting went on fast with some earth digging, some seed burying, some earth covering and some watering. That was it. Soon, the land was filled with casually planted melon seeds. But the seeds looked withered, and were displayed in an unruly manner. They looked so sad. Miss Su could not help but shake her head. Can they really grow? She was really doubtful. Miss Su could not help but feel a little speechless seeing Qiao Xian smiling at those withering seeds. Anyway, as long as it pleased her. Miss Su was not aware that she had subconsciously started to think differently from before. When the melons were put down, they all walked out of the yard. Xiao Yunduan glanced at the fruit trees and grapes in the yard, saying with a smile. Those trees are growing well. That surprised him as well. Xiao Xiaoqi smiled. True, look at the persimmons, peaches and pears. They are all lush, and the fruits will be available in a couple of months. And bayberries too. Xiao Taotao could not help but drool at the thought. They are turning red. True. Qiao Xian chuckled. Yes, I know I have spotted the right place. We will have endless fruits to eat. Early next morning, Qiao Xian paid a visit to the flower field at the entrance of the village. Everything was growing well. After the Dragon Boat Festival, pomegranate flowers, Chinese roses, and ordinary roses would all start to bloom in large proportions. At that time, the petals would be picked and smashed to extract the flower juice. Then some almonds would be bought, almond oil would be abstracted, and beeswax would be mixed in it for making lipstick. She could see that she had more than 2,000 lipsticks in hand. Soon, she was going to become a very rich woman. Satisfied, Qiao Xian put in more superpower into the field, so that the flowers grew faster, stems became stronger and leaves flourished. The twigs needed to grow faster and higher, whilst the blooms should ripen early and become bigger. Qiao Xian did not stop sending in the superpower until a while later. All the flowers were growing well, and when they grew so well, no one would notice the real reason for it, which made the process reasonable. That was why she had fenced the field. She did not want the outsiders to learn the truth. She was waiting for a contrast. Chapter 98 New Changes in Space. Qiao Xian was still headed into the mountains with Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao. It was the time when mushrooms were growing fastest and wildly. They had sun-dried many mushrooms, which could be stewed or fried with meat, leading to the making of a delicacy. Also, Qiao Xian suggested selling dried mushrooms in the market, and Miss Fang did not object to that proposal. Qiao Xian suggested that she could get more mushrooms when the mushrooms were growing rampantly in the mountains. Moreover, she planned to plant more mushrooms in the yard, which interested Miss Fang, who had found the biggest hope and interest in her life. Qiao Xian, with the excuse of seeking mushrooms, was actually trying to find some precious medical herbs, including wild-growing Gastrodia alatas, Panax nota ginseng, Siberia land picks as well as Ganoderma lucidum. She had decided to feed Ganoderma lucidum to the space, and if the space did not accept Gastrodia alata, Panax nota ginseng, then she could plant them in the yard. She also decided to have a talk with the pharmacy when she had some savings, about whether she could buy some seeds of Gastrodia alatas as well as Panax nota ginseng from them. Well, it would be best if wild-growing ones could be found. But it was not certain yet. The resources in the forest were abundant, and it was quite possible for her to find wild-growing ones there itself. When they were done with planting medicinal herbs, she was going to work on mushroom planting. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were quite willing to take a walk with their fifth sister-in-law in the mountains. The three of them spent 2 days searching for the herbs, and finally Qiao Xian found more than 10 Ganoderma lucidum for the space. Qiao Xian was very surprised. She tried to feed the space according to her own thoughts, which the space accepted. Qiao Xian was confused. But then she tried to pull the Ganoderma lucidum out of the space as well, which worked too. Delighted, Qiao Xian planted all the Ganoderma lucidum into the space without hesitation. In this way, she was putting stuff into the space for saving, and she could pull it out whenever she needed things. The orchids she planted earlier were budding, which manifested the fact that plants grew fast inside. In this way, Ganoderma lucidum could be left growing in the space instead, which could help her earn more money later. Apart from Ganoderma lucidum, Xianxia was lucky enough to find 5 more false starworts, which space did not ask for but which were planted by her voluntarily. She could sense that the magical air as well as the sense of liveliness had become thicker across the space. The land around the spring was no longer that bare-looking, and the earth within a range of 50 meters was becoming fertile. The space seemed to be expanding outwards in this way. The spring was no longer still. Instead, it was moving by a finger size far into the distance. Yet she could not see the end, since her magical sense had not yet taken her there. As for herself, she was yet not able to enter space physically, and wondered if she would be able to do that in the future. Apart from all of these changes, there was a patch of mist shrouding the area not far away from the spring, in which she seemed to have spotted a small house. The house had white walls and black tilts, a high rooftop. It looked quite classical. What was inside the house? Unfortunately, she was not able to go deeper inside. Still, Xianxia felt really excited seeing the changes in the space. She might be able to realize all the possibilities soon that had not been explored till now. According to the current development, she might be most likely to open up all the unknown avenues into possibilities. Xianxia eventually found a patch of wild-growing Gastrodia alata. She wondered for how many years the Gastrodia alatas had been growing in the mountains, since there were so many of them, covering approximately 20 mu. Chapter 99 Harvest. Xianxia and Xiao could not recognize those plants, but Xianxia had the impression, because she had bought them for the senior member of the family in her previous life. True, here they were. Fifth sister-in-law, is it a good thing? Can we sell them for money? Xianxia and Xiao did not care if they recognized the plants, as long as their fifth sister-in-law was glad. It meant that the plants were definitely going to be precious. Xianxia nodded as she rubbed her hands. These are excellent things, precious medical herbs, which can be sold at a really good price in the pharmacy. Gastrodia alatas had always been sold at a high price starting from the ancient time. Xianxia and Xiao cheered. What are we waiting for? Go and grab them. Fifth sister-in-law, what are they called? We will dig them all up. Xianxia smiled. They are called Gastrodia alata, growing in the earth. You have to be very careful when digging them. You should not hurt them, or they will lose all their value. Xianxia and Xiao nodded. Xiao asked again. Fifth sister-in-law, how much can they be sold for? Xianxia thought for a while and shook her head. I am not very sure, but I think that it should be more valuable than honey. Ah. What? Their eyes widened upon listening to her, and they gasped. Both of them became even more motivated and careful hearing that. The brother and sister were fully prepared. Fifth sister-in-law, don't worry, we promise to be careful. Xianxia nodded with a smile. Good that you are careful, but a little twisted stems are okay, don't get too nervous. Xianxia suddenly thought that she may be able to repair the damaged plants with her superpower. She wondered whether that method worked. Even if she could not, small damages were fine. She could use her superpower to avoid the damage in the stems. But Tao and Qi would not able to do so, they were not real professionals. However, Xianxia and Xiao were not convinced by Xianxia. We will definitely remain cautious. Yes, we will not hurt the stem. That was all potential money, far more valuable than wild honey. The three of them did not bring any shovels on this day, only blades. They needed to chop the plants away so as to make a path across the wilderness. Soon, Xianxia sharpened a sharp-tipped twig and the digging started. The terrain was low and flat in the woods, and the soil was not too wet or too dry. The plants were growing really well. As a result, it was much easier for them to dig out things. Soon, they managed to get a good harvest. All the plants looked ripe and weighed heavily, with some soil stuck to them. The plants had a fragrant and fresh fragrance, but their noses could only smell money. 20 mu plants like this were not easy to be dug fully, and they could not possibly carry everything back even when they were done. They had just completed digging 1 mu when their baskets were full. They were not strong enough to take away everything. Xianxia said, I will bear this place in mind. Let's go home first. What are we going to do with this plant? Sundry at 2. Xian had just tested that her superpower was able to repair the damage of plants, but the wounds could not be too large or deep. She was in a good mood. Hearing what Xianxia said, Xian thought for a while and said, we can't do this again and again. Let's go home first, and bring third brother, and elder sister-in-law here tomorrow. Chapter 100 Ideas. The plants across the 20 mu were ripe and lush, because no one had harvested them before. It was the correct time, but soon they would go bad. Xian decided to move them back home before they were discovered by others. The plants were not growing very regularly, and she decided to get some more laborers for help. With their help, the harvesting would take just a couple of days. The 3 of them returned to the village. Xian and Xiao waited for Xianxia to get the bullock cart to their spot. Then the 3 of them went into the town together, and arrived at the pharmacy called Tang. They went to the old client whom they had sold stuff to earlier. Xian had no idea how to deal with Gastrodia alata herself, and it would be too troublesome and eye-catching as well. What if those nosy people came to their home and made trouble? They could just dig and sell, saving a lot of trouble. Those relatives were so shameless. How could they just return like nothing had happened, every time they finished the argument with her mother-in-law? It basically meant that they were thick-skinned. It came to their own interests and had a greedy disposition. Hearing that they had Gastrodia alata, Manager Qin was really astonished. But for Xian's previous visit and their generous sale of hundreds of kilos of wild honey last time, he would not have believed their words. Instead, he would have thought that they were here causing trouble and would have driven them out. Seeing the plants they had brought with them, he was surprised. They were freshly dug with soil still attached. Manager Qin was surprised and happy, as he said emotionally, "You are indeed lucky. Of course we will take it. I will buy them at a reasonable price. Do you have any more?" Manager Qin looked at her expectantly. Xian replied with a leisurely smile, "Of course yes. We have found more than 10 mu of it in the mountains. This is just a small portion we have dug. So, Manager Qin, name a good price, otherwise we will not go and dig them any further." Manager Qin would not have believed those words if they were spoken by someone else, and he would have quoted a low price if he was dealing with regular villagers. Well, everyone was trying to make some money, right? But he had to believe what Xian said. She was a reliable person, and she must be right about what she had said. Xian would not trick him, like the others. Manager Qin smiled. "You are funny, little girl. My Tang is always fair and sells things at a right price. You can bring all kinds of medical herbs you can find, and we can buy it from you at the right price. The plants are raw, and we still need to deal with them, which may take some time. I will pay 2 liang for every 500 grams, okay?" Xianxia and Xiao almost fainted and their hearts skipped a beat. They exchanged a shocked look between each other. What did they just hear? 2 liang. They had spent a lot of effort carrying the bags and baskets from the mountains, and it should weigh at least 35 to 40 kilograms together. So, how much were they going to receive? They just could not calculate it anymore. Chapter 101 Nice treatment. Xian thought for a while and smiled. "Okay, 2 liang isn't a high price, but Manager Qin, you pay promptly, so I will take the deal." Good. "Miss, if you have some more, bring it to us please." The manager let out a sigh of relief and smiled, as he asked the assistant to start weighing the goods. 2 liang for 500 grams was not a low price, nor was it high. The manager was trying to get a bargain, because he did need to spend extra effort in dealing with the original plants. Xian took the deal and told him that she was aware of the market price well enough. Manager believed that if the seller was not as smart as this young miss, he would definitely have managed to buy all the plants at 2 qian per 500 grams instead. The final bill was 172 liang for 43 kilograms. If they give half of it to the shared savings, each of them would still get dozens of liang in the end. The three of them were really pleased. They bought some good food, and Xian fetched the newly tailored clothes, before heading back to the village happily. Xian asked Xiao Yunduan to join them when she was handing out the money. Xiao Yunduan was startled as he said, "You went to the town. You have to tell me when you go to town next time. I need to be with you." Qi and Tao Tao could do nothing. If something happened, they were not going to be of any help. They would even be frightened away. Xian got very happy when she heard that he cared about her safety rather than the money, so she said, "All right, next time, I will tell you first." Xian was smiling inside her heart. She was so lucky to have a husband who treated her nicely. Xiao Yunduan was really worried about her safety. He had witnessed how Madame Qiao and those from the Qiao family treated her, so he was really angry and concerned about her. He was scared that she would run into them. Those annoying servants were even worse than their masters. They would always flatter the masters in all kinds of manners. What if some housekeeper, servant or annoying aunties ran into Xian and bullied her? But seeing how Xian reacted, he suddenly became shy. But he felt somehow happy too, when he saw her cheerful face. Xian, Xiao Yunduan, Xiao Tao, Xiao Xiaoqi, Ms. Fong were dividing the money. Ms. Su did not notice the amount of money, as she was watching her children eating snacks and putting on new dresses. Ms. Fong and Xiao Yunduan were very surprised to see this much money. Xian took 2 notes, each of them was worth 50 liang, whilst the rest was 10 liang as well as some small changes. They had spent some on food, such as ribs and pork belly as well as 50 kilograms of rice and 15 kilograms of flour. Those staple foods were consumed fast in a large family like theirs. Miss Fong patted her throbbing heart as she said in a shivering voice, "This much money was earned because you sold that plant?" "Yes, Mom." The three of them nodded with a smile. "Oh my." Miss Fong almost collapsed. "It is so much. Mom, this is just a small part. We have seen more than 20 mu of the plant. We can dig some more tomorrow. We are going to earn much more than this." Miss Fong. "Let me digest it slowly." Xiao Yunduan helped Miss Fong to sit down. "Mom, Miss Qiao found the plant, but I think that if she gives half of the earnings to the shared pool, it might be a bit too much. What do you think?" Chapter 102. No greed. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao nodded as well. That was exactly what they were thinking too. But for fifth sister-in-law, we would not have recognized the plant, nor would we have sold it for this much money. Fifth sister-in-law should take the largest share. Yes. Xiao did not care much about it. She knew what her mother-in-law was like. She smiled. "It is fine, we have all worked hard. But Mom, you have to hide the money and never share it with anyone else." The others agreed as well. They believed that this was the most important thing above all. Miss Fong took a deep breath. "Miss Qiao, Duan, Qi and Tao are right. You earned the money. You don't have to give so much to us. What about you giving 20 liang to me, and the rest can be yours?" 20 liang was already enough for them. Honestly, they could not save 20 liang even in an entire year in the past. Miss Fong believed that she should cherish the windfall, rather than being greedy. Xian was able to earn this much money, because she was fortunate. The others should not be too greedy for her money, otherwise there would be misfortune along the way. Startled, Xian had not expected that her mother-in-law would be so generous. She said, Mom is right, just do as she says." Xiao Yunduan added. She could keep her earnings. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao had no objection to the proposal. Xian thought for a while and agreed with a smile. "Then, I won't say no." Miss Fong said with a smile, "You deserve it." Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao did not do much and still got 20 liang respectively. Xian had more than 120 liang in savings right now. She stuffed 2 liang back to Ms. Fong. That was an extra benefit, which made Ms. Fong smile. Her daughter-in-law was quite understanding, and knew how to make money and respected her. She was the lucky star of the family. When they were done with money sharing, Xiao Miling and Xiao Xiaoji came, looking around. Xiao Xiaoqi immediately said, "We don't have any wild animals today, cousins." So, they could just stop looking. Xiao Miling smiled. "You borrowed a bullock cart to go to the town, what did you do there?" Xiao Xiaoji. "What did you buy?" Qiao Xian replied. "Why must we report what we have brought to you every time? It is none of your business." She left from there without speaking with them any more. Xiao Miling and her sister got so annoyed that they turned to look at Ms. Fong, who ignored them as well and went into the kitchen instead. They realized that their elder aunt-in-law would not defend them against her daughter-in-law. "Let's leave." The two of them dashed off. Soon the 2 elder women were at the door. Ms. Fong countered them and the 2 of them left in anger as well. Ms. Fong realized that they should not be indulged, even though her family was making money now. Qiao Xian cooked some more food for dinner. She made braised and sugar-coated ribs, and turned pork belly into braised meat whilst adding some chives with egg soup and eggplants and beans. Qiao Xian thought that her father-in-law would say something about this, but her father-in-law said nothing even after they finished the dinner. Qiao Xian was very surprised. Xiao Yunduan immediately clarified. "They owe you 2 liang. Dad doesn't dare to say anything right now." Qiao Xian struck her head. "Ah, good. It was good that she had a substantial dowry." Chapter 103. No step backward. She could do whatever she wanted. What Xiao Xian did not know was that when eldest uncle returned to the room, he had a long chat with Miss Fong. Although he did not believe it firmly, he still insisted. "They were just here on a visit, why are you treating them as if they are thieves? It will make our names sound bad, and it will hurt us too." "We are one family," Miss Fong sneered. "We are not one family. We are living separately. We all have sons, daughter-in-laws and grandchildren to support. What are they doing here? They keep thinking about getting something from us, whenever they see us bringing something home. Just on a visit? They always return to their home with something or the other. She is not yet married, but when he has a wife in the future, and they keep coming to us again and again, his wife is definitely going to be annoyed. No nephews are going to support their uncles and aunts. They can get something from us occasionally, but they come to us every time Qi goes up to the mountain. Bah! Miss Qiao can buy whatever she wants. Why is it their business? Why must they dig into what she is doing? Must she share with them what she has got? They will always come to you whenever we refuse to give them something. You can share things with them, but leave us alone. If you are not convinced, just ask your son and daughter-in-law, who on earth is willing to share the gains? You can go and ask anyone. Bah, don't ever say that they have nothing, and will give us something when they have it. Look at Xiaoji and Miling. When they eat candies, they don't share any with Tao Tao. When they kill roosters for a meal, have they ever shared a bowl of soup with us? Eldest uncle, he could not come up with any instance when he was offered something by them. A rooster is so small. If they have anything spare, they would definitely share it with us, Ms. Fong sneered. What do you mean by small? If they have the heart to share it with us, they would do that whenever they want. They have taken full advantage of us. Now, they should just stop it. Our children are growing up, and we are going to have more daughters-in-law. You are defending your brothers, but if you expect your daughters-in-law to support their uncle and aunts, I don't think that any of the daughters-in-law would be glad to do so. Are you trying to make sons and daughters-in-law to get separated from you? Eldest uncle was angry. We are one family, we don't have to split hairs. You don't, but what good have we got? Why can't we split the hairs? We need to share every time. But they share nothing, and think that we owe them something. You can be generous, but leave us alone." Having said this, Miss Fong became even angrier and went to sleep. She was definitely not going to take a step backwards. She was strong enough to snap at him. She had her son and daughter-in-law to back her up, and it did not matter if her husband was arguing with her. Maybe he could just leave the family. He could check if his brothers would want to keep him and feed him. The following day, eldest uncle was not feeling well, but no one noticed it or spoke with him. That made the old man feel even worse. He had nowhere to vent his anger either. So, he skipped breakfast, and left with a shovel on his shoulders. Xiao Dalong was down to earth and seemed to have sensed that his father was upset about something. Miss Fong sneered and waved her hand. Just leave him alone. He would come to join them for a meal when he was angry. Or he was going to ask his brothers for food. They would never be that kind to take care of him. Xiao Dalong did not think that it was right, but when he was about to say something more, Miss Su blinked at him and stopped him. Chapter 104 Ms. Zus Anticipation. Miss Su snapped at him. Don't be silly. Dad and Mom must have had a row. As they're juniors, we should not get involved in the matter. Xiao Dalong was startled. A row? That can't be possible. They were fine last night, Miss Su snorted. Who knows? But just listen to what Mom says. If you ever dare say anything more, she will teach you a lesson. Xiao Dalong thought for a while and nodded with a small answer, saying nothing more. After breakfast, Xianxia asked them to help dig the Gastrodia alatas. Qi, third brother, and I found a large patch of it, and they are very valuable. Brother and sister-in-law, help us in bringing it back. I will pay you 5 liang a day. It will take just a couple of days. She had asked Miss Fong about the payment, and Miss Fong agreed with it. Only Xianxia recognized Gastrodia alata, and it was she who found this valuable plant, so Miss Fong even believed that 5 liang for the couple would be a little too much. 5 liang for one day? If Xianxia was a stingy person, she could have kept it as a secret and sell it on her own. She could have earned all the money by herself. But she exposed this to the family because she treated them well. Also, half of her earnings would need to be handed out to the shared savings. Xiao Dalong and his wife, as well as Xiao Sanlang, were shocked. Fifth sister-in-law, Ms. Zus' voice was shivering. Are you saying that we can earn 5 liang a day? 5 liang? Xiao Dalong found that Ms. Zus' reaction was a little bit improper, but he could not help but turn to Ms. Su, who was gasping. He looked at Xianxia and said, Fifth sister-in-law, have you made a mistake? Xiao Sanlang gasped and had not become normal yet. Brother. Xianxia smiled. I have not made a mistake. 5 liang for one person per day, 10 liang for 2 days, but, please keep it a secret. I will absolutely keep it a secret. Fifth sister-in-law, let's go now. Miss Su almost jumped in excitement. 10 liang for 2 days. They would earn 20 liang for 2 days together. In a couple of years, they would be able to afford to send Junyan to school, even after handing out the money to the shared savings. Miss Fong could not help but throw Miss Su a disdainful look. This narrow-minded woman, she acted as if she had never seen any money before. But then she realized that she had really never seen much money before. So she decided to drop any disciplining talks with her. Just listen carefully. Miss Fong snorted. You should tell this to no one else, including your father. If you meet your mother's family, you should keep it a secret from them as well. Never mention this to anyone ever, understand? Miss Su was startled and nodded constantly. So did Xiao Dalong and the others. Soon they set out to do the work. Xiao Yinduan tagged along as well. He was trying to take a walk in his spare time, to balance his time devoted to his studies. They worked fast, and it took them just half a day to finish the work. Compared to the digging, transporting was an even more difficult task. It was a long way to go. They were all good at physical labor work, but it took some effort to carry everything out. Xianxia rented a bullock cart and they all gathered at the entrance of the village. Xianxia decided to keep Qiao company in the town, whilst Xianxia and Xiao followed along. Miss Su was very excited. She was nervous too, and did not follow along out of hesitation. Do you think that fifth sister-in-law will give us the money? Miss Su did not believe that it was a reliable thing. That plant looked like cheap stuff. Were they worth a penny? Chapter 105 Acceptance. Xiao Dalong said, "Fifth sister-in-law doesn't joke around. When she makes a promise, she definitely sticks to it." Miss Su nodded and smiled. "Then we will have 20 liang altogether, and we are going to have savings of our own." "Yes." Xiao Dalong smiled with brightened eyes. They sold a lot of plants this time, and the weight became 268 kilograms. Manager Qin counted it as 270 kilograms instead. The payment was 1,080 liang altogether. Manager Qin's eyes almost popped out, and he asked his assistant to serve them tea. He said in a flattering tone, "Mr. Xiao and Mrs. Xiao, how much more of this do you have?" Xiao thought for a while. Similar to this amount, not too much. It was wild growing and the production wasn't that great. Otherwise 20 mu of Gastrodia alata would have led them to great fortune. Good. Manager Qin said with a smile. "We want it all, we buy it at this price, okay?" Xiao smiled. Okay. Xiao gave Xianxia and Xiao 100 liang each. It was they who kept Xiao company when she found Gastrodia alata, and they deserved to have this much share. The two of them accepted the money happily. Xiao gave nothing to Xiao, but asked him with a smile. "I can keep it for you, and you can turn to me when you need money, all right?" Xiao suddenly thought of how his mother guarded the money at home, and how his sister-in-law watched out for the savings, so he wondered what she meant. But Xiao cut off the suspicion and nodded. Okay. Xiao chuckled and stuffed the money into her arms. Back at home, they started to divide the money. They gave Xiao Dalong, Mrs. Su, and Xiao Sanlang 10 liang each, and they would receive 10 liang more the following day. Miss Su was so happy that her eyes sparkled. She thanked her constantly and wondered where she should keep the money. Xiao Sanlang was glad as well. He had the money. And he was going to sell more of this plant with his brother tomorrow as well. He was going to buy a lot of good food. Like braised pork, roasted chicken, big ducks and all kinds of delicious meat dishes from restaurant Jianghu, some candied sugar-coated dried fruits from dim sum shops, melon seeds and peanuts and so on. He was going to buy a lot. It made him so happy. Xiao gave 100 liang to Miss Fong as well. Miss Fong accepted the money when Xiao told her to. Xiao could not help but smile. "Mom, I really admire you for how you deal with different things. I am so glad to have a mother-in-law like you." Miss Fong was not greedy at all, which Xiao appreciated greatly. "Honestly, you girl." Miss Fong chuckled. "It is Duan's honor to have married you. But you are right, I am not greedy. I feel so glad to have you here." "Yes." Xiao smiled. "Mom, you are kind and friendly, and you will certainly have a lot of good fortune." Ha ha ha. "That is great." Miss Fong laughed loudly. Xiao. He almost believed that he was the extra one. The following day, they worked hard and earned 1,260 liang after the sale. Xiao gave 100 liang to Miss Fong, Xianxia, and Xiao each, and gave 20 liang to Xiao Sanlang, Xiao Dalong, and Mrs. Su respectively. Chapter 106. Xiao more satisfied, she had 900 liang left to herself. In this way, she had approximately 1,900 liang saved with her. Great that she had the superpower. Money just came in like a flood. Otherwise she would not have been able to find those precious things in the mountains. After all, it wasn't easy to find those hidden treasures in the mountains, and that was why the villagers were all so poor. A day later, Xian planted 2 mu of Gastrodia alata. She had asked manager Qin to get 2 mu of Panax noto ginseng and 2 mu of Taizi ginseng seeds for her. It would be better if he could get ginseng seeds or ginseng that was still alive. Manager Qin nodded and even signed a contract with her. He asked her to keep planting those things and they would buy all the plants, at a relatively reasonable price. Also, they were also going to return the money for the seeds to her. Well, if the plants did not grow, then she would have to bear the cost of the seeds. This was because the seeds for Panax noto ginseng and Taizi ginseng were not cheap. Xian heard that Mingren Tang was operated by the Tang family in the capital, which was a medical family and received full respect. The grandpa, namely the master of the family, used to be the imperial doctor for the emperor. He was from a very noble and reputable family of medicine. They might not be the most prestigious one, yet they were at least one of the most prestigious ones. Due to the special social status, even the most prestigious families would not dare offend them, and sometimes the most prominent families would even want to do them a favor. After all, everyone needed doctors at some point. The richer a family was, the more scared they were of diseases. That was why Xian became even more satisfied. If she was able to continue her collaboration with the Tang family, then her original parents would not dare do anything to her either. The Tang family was a noble family and they had been running a medical business, which needed a stellar reputation. Due to her and Xiao Yunduan's social status, the Tang family would not do anything like stealing the techniques from her, like planting those herbs. Ms. Su was willing to help when they were planting Gastrodia alata. She was very envious of those 2 mu of Gastrodia alata. She could not help but let out an emotional sigh, standing with Xiao Dalong. This is a very valuable plant, and they are going to make even more money. What about us seeking these plants in the mountains too? If we find some ourselves, we are going to make a fortune as well. She knew that even if half of the earnings was given to the shared savings, it would still mean a great deal. Xiao Dalong was a down-to-earth man. He said to her, "They are not so easy to plant. We know nothing about it. Just drop it. We can't recognize those valuable things in the mountains, and it is dangerous out there. We have earned so much this time already." Ms. Su pursed her lips. "It is never too much money for us. Also, we have earned 60 liang, but 30 liang are for the shared savings, and we only have 30 liang left. That is so little." Xiao Dalong turned a surprised look at her. 30 liang was not enough? Darling, don't overthink it. We are just ordinary farmers, and we should not be greedy. All right. Ms. Su felt as if she were stricken down. She snorted. "Those are just thoughts, look at what you are saying." Xiao Dalong scratched his head and tugged her sleeves. "I don't mean anything else, I just mean that we should learn to be satisfied. Look at what we have now, it is enough." Chapter 107 Recognition. Ms. Su. This man was dull and dumb in head. Messages just did not get through. But he was slightly better than before. Who would complain about gaining so much money? The 5th sister-in-law could pay them this much money, probably because she herself had earned a lot. Well, she could not say anything about it, since she earned the money with her abilities. But if she could recognize what the plant was like, then she could go into the mountains and dig them herself. She could sell them and earn the money for her own pocket. The more Ms. Su thought about this, the more she wanted to do so. So the next day, she pretended to work in the land, but sneaked into the mountains instead. She was going to find Gastrodia alata. She had no knowledge of what it looked like, but when she was digging the plant, she bore the appearance in her mind. As long as she could run into the plant, she was going to recognize it. But Gastrodia alata was not easy to find. Without Xiao Xian's superpower, it could not be possibly found at all. Anxious, Ms. Su panicked. She kept going deep into the forest without any awareness. The path as well as the trees were getting so strange and the veins were flourishing, getting denser. But Ms. Su just did not notice the change. When she realized that something was wrong, she glanced about, as cold sweat dripped alongside her cheeks. Where was she? It was very quiet around, and trees were covering her head, as if there were numerous pairs of eyes hiding behind the woods, and a beast would come to lunge at her and eat her up. Suddenly, Miss Su let out a scream, when she heard a weird sound of a bird chirping across the mountains. She tripped over and fell. She kept screaming and ran backwards despite the pain. Luckily, Miss Su left some footprints on the path that was barely visited by anyone. She grew up in the countryside, and often worked in the mountains. So even though she went through the difficulty at the beginning, she managed to escape from the woods. When she came to the familiar place, Miss Su collapsed as she panted, crying. She felt so regretful, though she had no idea what made her feel this way. But after this experience, she understood that she was not capable enough to do it herself. She could not make a fortune through this. Miss Su felt very jealous and admired her fifth sister-in-law. No wonder her mother-in-law kept speaking highly of fifth sister-in-law and calling her a lucky star. True, she was indeed a lucky star. She had to admit that she was not destined to be as lucky. Well, she had some savings in hand, and even though they had separated from the big family, the family of 4 would definitely live a good life. Also, some of fifth sister-in-law's earnings would be given to the shared savings too, so when mother-in-law had enough money in her hand, the whole family would have a better life as well. Hence, she decided to leave the money-making job to her fifth sister-in-law. She was sure that fifth sister-in-law would not forget about her, whenever she was going to make a fortune. As she thought about this, Miss Su felt slightly comforted. From that moment on, she dropped her strange thoughts. The whole family had no idea what Miss Su had been through. Xianxia spent the following days at home, since she was really tired in the past few days of non-stop mountain visits. Xiao Tao was making the shoe soles, and Xianxia helped her. There were no other entertainment things she could do, so she got really bored and decided to kill the time by doing some needlework. Chapter 108. Later in the afternoon, Xianxia spent some time on the flower field which was located at the entrance of the village. She had used her superpower to make the trees grow, and now, some already started to bloom. The 30 bee boxes were standing in 3 rows neatly, with numerous bees going in and out, buzzing around. Xianxia stopped in front of one gardenia tree that was taller than herself. She looked at the blossoms attached to the twigs, reached out for the trunk and poured in more superpower. Soon, one of the blossoms started to open itself, and gradually, while flowers covered the entire tree. The white, egg-sized flowers were blossoming in an enticing way, covering up the trees and giving off a wonderful scent. Xianxia picked several flowers and held them in her hands. Then she put in more superpower, trying to extract the oil from them. She rubbed the flowers, crushed the petals, and instilled her superpower gradually, extracting the water inside and then made it evaporate under the sunshine. It was a difficult process, because the superpower wasn't easily controlled. A small distraction might ruin the entire work. Soon, Xianxia honed her skill. The crushed petals soon turned brown, and Xianxia cast the petals all over the ground. She noticed the water drops at the tip of her finger, which was very small. The scent was very pure and strong. It was the smell of gardenias indeed. It must be the extracted oil from gardenias. Xianxia was overjoyed. It seemed that she was going to pay another visit to the town. Some tools needed to be made and jars had to be bought. She needed to have a large white porcelain bowl and pestle for pounding the medicine. The petals could not be pinched by hand. It was much easier to pound them in the bowl first, and then refine them later. She was going to buy some sealed bottles made of jadestone for the oil. She was not going to expand the 60 mu of flower field. It would be too obvious. She wasn't afraid of the villagers, but the madam at the mansion. She was going to do something bigger, when she grew stronger. But she was going to do something on the sly. She was going to buy good fields directly from the landowners in the town. She could hire some people to take care of the land, and did not have to do everything personally. She was not going to expand the flower field for the time being. She could grow all kinds of flowers that she wanted, but if she planted too many flowers, it would cause suspicion. With her superpower, she could make the flowers bloom numerous times on the same field. The superpower would grow stronger, the more she practiced it. As Xian was mulling over the plan, she saw that the flowers had already attracted many bees. Xian smiled. It seemed that they all loved it. She also sensed that her superpower would soon grow stronger, and more fragrant. Satisfied, Xian left the flower field, locked the door and went home. She had just walked into the yard, when she saw Xiaoqi, Xiao Taotao, Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing feeding ducks and geese. Miss Fong was watching and laughing, standing next to them. They dug some fish and shrimps from the bucket and cast them onto the ground. The ducks and geese were all jostling to get the food. They looked so cute and fresh, and the sight made Junyan and Xiao Qing really happy. Mom. Fifth sister-in-law. Here. Xian smiled after greeting them. Where did the ducks come from? Chapter 109 Fish and Shrimp. Her mother-in-law used to think that raising ducks was a waste of food, and it was not worth the while. That was why Xian was very surprised to see 20 ducks appearing in the yard. Miss Fong smiled. Your third brother went to town today, and I asked him to bring the ducks home. Then, she pressed down her voice and chuckled with pride. Now, we have food for ducks. When they grow bigger, you can just make them into dishes. We can all get a taste of it. Xian raised her eyebrows, but then nodded with a smile. That sounds good. I can make many dishes with duck. Mom, just wait to taste the dishes. Xiao Zioqi's eyes sparkled. Fifth sister-in-law, what about me buying 2 more large ducks from town in a couple of days, when the market is on? Miss Fong glared at him in amusement. You boy, since when did you pick up your third brother's bad habit? Everyone laughed. Xiaoqi chuckled in embarrassment, scooped a small shrimp from the bucket and cast it onto the ground. Xian was brought back to the scene. She said, You went to fetch fish and shrimps from the river? She leaned forward and saw many shrimps, big and small, as well as several fish in the bucket. They all looked like delicacies to her. Seeing them chuckling as they fed them to geese and ducks, Xian could not help but let out a sigh of concern. Those were all river shrimps and fishes from fresh, unpolluted rivers. They could all turn into delicious dishes. She had paid too much attention to the mountains, ignoring the treasure in the river. There were many fish and shrimps in the river these days. It is such a pity that you are feeding them to the ducks and geese. They can be our food. Xiao Taotao's eyes widened. But fifth sister-in-law, they have a weird taste, we don't like it. Xiaoqi was motivated instead. Fifth sister-in-law, are you able to come up with dishes using shrimps and fish? I can get them home now. Xiao Taotao got the point too. Oh. Me too, me too. Fish and shrimps had a weird smell, and villagers did not want to put too much oil into making them, nor did they want to add much wine to drive away the taste. So they believed that those things could not be turned into delicious food. Gradually, people rarely visited the river for fish and shrimps, unless it was a famine. Hence, they just got the fish and shrimp for ducks and chickens. Xian nodded and smiled. Of course they can be made into food. There are various kinds of dishes that can be made. Do we have many of these in the river? Let's visit the river and we will make yummy food tonight. Hooray! Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao cheered. They dropped the ducks and geese, and went to fetch a bucket and net, heading towards the river. They had a net at home, which they had no idea when they made it and when they last used it. Xian smiled. We can go to the town to buy some fish poles. They should come handy in fishing. However, those things were ordinary tools which might not be available on sale. They could find a carpenter to make some hooks instead. Miss Fong did not know what she should say. You have so many plans. You are so naughty. Keep your fifth sister-in-law protected, and stay safe. Got it. Xianxia and Xiao answered from a distance away. They came to the riverside, and saw seaweed growing all over the river with slow-flowing water. Chapter 110. Xiaoxian's interest. Xiaoxia took off his shoes, rolled up his trousers and tied them around his waist. He threw the net into the root of the seaweed, gave it a push and took a step backwards. Finally, the net was cast out. There were numerous, bouncing shrimps in the net as well as 2 finger-sized fish that showed their white bellies immediately. Xiaoxia threw away the leaves and small things out of the net proficiently, and gathered up the fish and shrimp, putting them into the bucket. Soon after, Xiaoxian tried to explore the river with her superpower. Her eyes widened after a moment, and she was excited and motivated. There were numerous shrimps, fish and crabs swimming in there. Xiaoxian could see all the fish and shrimps hidden in the seaweeds clearly. However, shrimps and fish were not like those plants in the mountains. They were water animals which were flexible and difficult to catch. Also, what Xiaoxian could see was invisible to Xiaoxia, so they had to make some effort and needed a bit of luck. Xiaoxian felt really sorry to see some large fish swimming away from the net. Let me try. Xiaoxian intended to go into the water. But Xiaoxia and Xiao turned her down directly. Xiaoxian knew that they were worried about her safety, so she had no choice but to drop the idea. Therefore, she helped them, standing on the bank. They were very lucky to have so many wild, fresh fish and shrimps in this era, and with the guidance of Xiaoxian, they managed to catch some fish every now and then. There were already crucian carps the size of 4 fingers, a carp, 3 yellow peppers the size of 2 fingers and several small trash fish the size of 2 or 3 fingers in the bucket. Xiaoxian also made a few attempts, whenever it was within her abilities. However, she could not catch big fish each time from where she stood. So after a while, she only managed to catch 2 large fish. Suddenly, she saw an old turtle that was bigger than her palm, hidden in a crevice under the water. Xiaoxian was overjoyed, and hurriedly booed to remind Xiaoxia and pointed it to him. Xiaoxia nodded and tiptoed there. He bent his back and quickly got the turtle in his hands. What a large turtle! The turtle was fun. Children from the village would always catch one when they were playing or swimming in the river during summer. They often brought it home as a pet, but gradually, the pet would be gone. Xiaoxian asked him to put it into the bucket, smiling. It is really good for soup. Seeing the harvest in the bucket, Xiaoxian smiled. Time to go home. We have enough to eat today, and can come any time we want for more. There were innumerable fish and shrimps in the river. Xiaoxia and Xiao nodded. Xiaoxia went back to the bank and the 3 of them went home together. They worked on the shrimps and fish, and left the remaining in the vat for the time being. The shrimps were dried in the pot, and seasoned with some salt. In this way, they could be stored for 3 days without turning bad. Chives were added to fry with shrimps, and eggs were cracked to make pancakes. They would be either deep-fried or pan-fried. The internal organs of the small fish were removed, wrapped in flour batter, and fried in a pan. It was crispy and delicious. There were still pickles at home, which could be used for dinner at night. Crucian carp, yellow spicy diced, and unknown fish were used to make a big pot of pickles and miscellaneous fish, with a little pepper added to make it sour and a spicy appetizer. Xiaoxian served the fried fish on the plate for Xiaoxia. The fish were small finger-sized, and the bones were already fried. They could be chewed and crushed easily, so even Xiao Zhenyan and Xiao Qing could eat them. Chapter 111. Rich. The dish of deep-fried fish was eaten up by the 4 of them quickly. Miss Fong tried it and smiled. Miss Qiao, you know everything. The fish tastes great. Then she added another sentence. Well, you used a lot of oil, right? Xiaoxian smiled. Yes, deep-fried things are delicious, and I can try some more dishes like these in the future. Okay. Miss Fong smiled. She had plenty of money now, and they could use as much oil as they wanted to. It was fine. Apart from the money Qiao Xian contributed towards the shared savings, Xiao Dalong, Miss Su, and Xiao Taotao had also offered some money to her. Miss Fong had almost lost track of the amount, and she felt really confident at the moment. Of course, she was not taking any money from her children for herself. She was actually saving it for their future use. Xiao Sanlang came home too, when Xiao Xian was making dinner. Xiao Sanlang had gone to the town to buy food. With money in his hands, he was really drooling, thinking about the dish. He only got time today, since he was helping Xiao Xian plant the day before. Xiao Sanlang was also very confident, with money in his hands. He went to the town-famous restaurant Jianghu, and bought braised chickens, fish, deep-fried meat and steamed ducks. Xiao Sanlang was very satisfied by the delicious dishes. He had been to the town before, and he was salivating over the smell that came out of the restaurant whenever he passed by. He had sworn in his heart that he was definitely going to save enough money to treat himself to the dishes of this restaurant. The belief was so firm that he could not get rid of it. Therefore, the moment he got money, he came to visit this place directly. It was indeed a great place. Each dish was delicious. No wonder they were sold at such a high price. But after one meal, he lost his motivation. He made a careful comparison, and found that fifth sister-in-law's cooking skills were not worse than the dishes served here, and she could even make better food, sometimes. Therefore, he was going to buy raw meat and take it home. He would ask his fifth sister-in-law to make the dishes instead. But he had not expected that fifth sister-in-law would be able to cook fish, since it was never easy to make it, and only restaurants would normally serve good fish dishes. Xiao Sanlang kept half duck and chicken untouched, and he asked the waiter to wrap it up with leaves and have it covered by a layer of yellow paper. Xiao Sanlang left the restaurant in satisfaction. He bought 2 more roast chickens, 5 or 6 kinds of snacks from the Lanhua dim sum shop, and bought melon seeds, peanuts, preserved apricots, dried jujubes, preserved peaches, dried plums and other snacks at the Guiji roasted goods shop. It was a big bag full of stuff, before he went to buy the ducks. Xiao Sanlang did not let his mother know about how much food he had bought. He was worried that his mother would blame him for wasting money. He delivered the ducks home and gave Xiao Zhenyan and his sister 2 bags of snacks. He put down the roast chicken in the kitchen as well as a slice of pork belly, before dashing off. He was going to take the snacks he had bought to young Xiaoni. He was going to share it with his future wife. Young Xiaoni was still out doing work. In this way, she was able to stay out of her brother's home and avoid seeing them and getting annoyed. Xiao Sanlang found her soon. Caught by Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian, the 2 of them learned to hide themselves in the forest. Perched up in the mountain, they could see what was going on in all directions, so they could know instantly when someone was nearby. Chapter 112 Foodies. Xiao Sanlang brought out all kinds of snacks and young Xiaoni's eyes started to sparkle. Brother Sanlang, you treat me so well. Wow, the chicken leg and duck leg seems so tasty. Young Xiaoni kept eating the chicken leg and duck leg, feeling really satisfied. Xiao Sanlang chuckled. Tasty, right? I saved all of these for you. Yes, they are delicious. Young Xiaoni nodded and took one bite on the chicken leg and passed it to Xiao Sanlang. Please, Brother Sanlang, you eat some too. Xiao Sanlang was also drooling for the chicken leg, but he thought of the food he was able to eat whilst young Xiaoni had to suffer a great deal for almost half a month. So Xiao Sanlang swallowed his saliva and shook his head, smiling. I am okay, I am full. You can just eat it all. Okay. Young Xiaoni did not show any more generosity, seeing that he turned her down. She soon finished 2 legs, and some pieces of meat. Then she wrapped up the meat and smiled. I will eat the remaining later. Xiao Sanlang pulled out all the other snacks, like melon seeds or peanuts. Xiaoni, look. I bought them myself, let's eat them together. Young Xianxia's eyes were bright as she cheered in happiness. Ah, you are so nice. We have so much food to eat, that is great. Xiao Sanlang was excited as well. He nodded. Yes, these are all ours. They started to feast out in the wild. They tried every dish and discussed it enthusiastically. When they were full, they started to eat melon seeds and peanuts. Oh yes, Brother Sanlang, where did you get the money for all this? Young Xiaoni asked. Young Xiaoni really did not think of this before, did she? Xiao Sanlang said proudly, don't worry, I get paid for my work, good money. I still have some savings. We will buy a lot of other good food when you marry me. Oh, by the way, you know about my fifth sister-in-law? She is such a good cook. You will realize it when you come to live with us. Young Xiaoni looked really excited, and smiled brightly. Xiao Sanlang added. What about me giving you 2 liang, so you can go and buy some dresses and anything else you want? We can talk about this later. Young Xiaoni pursued. It is not long before I can marry you, so it is fine. If my brother knows about the money in my hand, he will steal it. Xiao Sanlang snapped angrily. Yang Liang and his wife are terrible. You will not be with them for much longer. Of course. Married sister would never need to care about her brother or sister. Xiao Sanlang spent half a day with his future wife. They spent some time chatting after eating. Xiao Sanlang gave the remaining food to Yang Xiaoni before he left reluctantly. Yang Xiaoni finished the food, and hid the snacks. She tucked them over her bed when she returned to third Grandma Yang's home. She did not share them with third Grandma Yang and her family either, otherwise it would be too annoying since she could not tell them where she got them from. Since she was full, Yang Xiaoni did not return to her brother's home for dinner. She did not go back to make dinner either. Ms. Tian was so annoyed that she kept cursing Yang Xiaoni for being lazy and ungrateful. The 4 of them finished all the food, without leaving anything for Yang Xiaoni. Chapter 113 Sweet Barberries. It was a bustling scene in the first section of the Xiao family. The dishes served that evening included small river shrimp stir-fried with leeks, pickled cabbage and miscellaneous fish pot, sweet and sour carp, which were all paired with 2 vegetarian dishes. It was a table full of color, aroma and taste. The whole family was curious about the new way the fish had been cooked. They believed that Xiao Xian was skilled at it, and did not hesitate to pick up their chopsticks. Everyone spoke highly of the dishes. Xiao Zhenyan and Xiao Qing loved sweet and sour carp best. Xiao Xian had made them a small portion of shrimp with steamed egg. The adults loved every dish. Eldest uncle said happily, the fish is really tasty, Miss Qiao. You can tell the method to your second aunt-in-law and third aunt-in-law, so they could make some and have a taste of it. They could not afford to buy meat, but there were many fish and shrimps in the river. Elder uncle's concern for the second section of the family and third section of the family was already deep inside his head, and he subconsciously thought of them in every aspect. Qiao Xian, as well as everyone else in the first section of the family, already lost interest in countering those words. She presented the way of how the dishes were made, with a smile. She even added many extra steps to how the dishes were made. Hearing that so much oil was needed, and wine for pickling and salt and seasonings, eldest uncle no longer had the motivation of telling the second and the third section of the family about it. They would not be able to make the dishes in this way at all. No wonder the dishes were tasty. They consisted of many condiments. He did not dare to ask his daughter-in-law to share the dishes, because all of these were bought with his daughter-in-law's dowry money. Miss Fong threw a satisfied look at Xiao Xian, smiling happily. Soon it was the 3rd day of May. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. They were discussing how they should celebrate the Dragon Boat Festival. Xiao Yinduan and Xiao Xian planned to visit the town, whilst Miss Fong was making preparations for glutinous rice dumplings. The leaves and the glutinous rice were all well prepared. They normally made a few glutinous rice dumplings to celebrate the festival in the past and made some eggs for the children. But they had a lot of money this year, so they decided to make it big. Xian became interested in making glutinous rice dumplings as well. One day before the festival, Xian and Yunduan went into the town to buy meat, ribs as well as the seasonings for the meat. They sliced the pork belly and put the rib in seasoning sauce for the dumplings the following day. In addition to pork belly chestnut dumplings, there were pork belly mushroom dumplings, pork ribs dumplings, and some red bean candy jujube dumplings, 8 treasure dumplings, and alkaline water dumplings, which they stored for half a month after cooking. In previous years, the Dragon Boat Festival was filled with alkaline water dumplings and bean dumplings. At most, a little chestnut was added, but meat dumplings were never made, so everyone was looking forward to it. Xian felt a bit regretful. She should have pickled some salted duck egg for salted yolk dumplings. She started to miss salted eggs. Well, she could buy some to make them herself. On the 3rd day of May, Ms. Qiao went into the mountains to pick the leaves. Xiao Yunduan and Xianxia as well as Xiao Tao went into the mountains to hunt. They decided to bring some wild animals back for the festival. They were also seeking fresh mushrooms for the dumplings. They were lucky enough to get wild roosters, wild rabbits, mushrooms and yams. On a large barberry tree, they saw the large-sized fruits hanging. Xian held her hands against the trunk, casting the superpower without disclosing much. Xianxia climbed up onto the tree, picked one and put it into his mouth. His eyes sparkled. It is so sweet. He picked a large bunch of it and said, "Fifth brother, fifth sister-in-law, try these." Chapter 114 Rules. Xian smiled and started to think. Of course they were sweet. She had used her superpower to make them so. The 3 of them nodded in agreement. The fruits were really sweet. Xiao Tao cheered. It is rare to have such sweet barberries, let's take them home. So, they filled up half of the basket with barberries. Everyone in the family nodded and spoke highly of the sweet fruits, which they had brought home in a large quantity. Miss Fang asked Xiaoqi to lead the way again, so Xiao Dalong, Miss Su, and Xiao Sanlang could all go to carry the barberries home for drying and winemaking. The following day, Xiao Yunduan and Xian went into the town for meat. They inquired about the landowner. They visited the landowner and decided to buy some land from him. Xian did not want to buy sporadic fields. She expected to buy patches and lots of fields. She could buy good fields as well as dry fields close to the water fields too. I will come to the town 3 times a month. Remember to select the fields for me. I will pay well. The landowner agreed but added a caveat. I can't find one very fast. We have to wait. Xian was aware of this too and nodded. Honestly, no households would sell water fields easily these days, because water fields were the source of their food, water and earnings. Only those who splurged or had no other way out would sell their water fields. Once water fields were sold, not everyone was able to buy them. There were rules inside. When someone in a clan intended to sell the water fields, those from the same clan got the priority to buy them, and if those from the same clan did not want them, then the outsiders would be the next choice. Even the outsiders were divided into different categories. For example, if someone from the Xiao family wanted to sell fields, and no one from the Xiao family wanted to buy them, then it would be the Ding family who had the right next. If the Ding family did not want to buy them, then the other families from the village were allowed to buy them. When no one from the above-mentioned families wanted to buy them, then it would be the other villagers' turn. Also, cultivated talent and advanced scholar would have the rights to buy the fields first, before the remaining ones could do so. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks to sum it up, it was a long queue. Therefore, if Xian wanted to buy good fields from other villages, then she needed to have, to put it simply, good luck. But Xian was not in a hurry. What she wanted to do was to wait quietly. She wanted the fields, not for the income, but for her fundamental competence and capital. She wanted to have control over more resources. When this conversation was done, Xianxia went to fetch some stuff from the craftsman, such as essences and other things. The molds and tubes for lipsticks were already made, including 12 sets of molds and 600 tubes. She paid the remaining amount and took them home, whilst booking another batch of tubes. When she was done with shopping, the two of them returned to the village. The moment they arrived home, Xiao Taotao, who was taking care of the babies at home, told them that Miss Fong and Ms. Su as well as Xiao Dalong went to Widow Sun's home due to some trouble. Startled, they hurried there. There were many people gathered at Widow Sun's door, which was noisy and messy. Miss Fang's cursing sound as well as Widow Sun's sneer could be heard from a distance away. Then came Widow Sun's loud scream. "How dare you!" The two women must have gotten into a fight. Both of them were startled. As the couple arrived, Widow Sun was under Miss Fong, being beaten and crying loudly. Miss Su was really surprised as she stood next to them. Widow Sun's daughter Ding Qingqing went up to help Widow Sun, but Miss Fong, who was really furious, started to beat the daughter as well. The mother and daughter were in a disadvantageous position. Chapter 115. A fight. Xiao Dalong and Xianxia intended to separate them, but they were scared. Widow Sun wasn't a gentle woman. What if they touched Widow Sun? Things would get complicated. The most troublesome was Ding Qingqing, who was a girl and should not be touched randomly. They were panicking. Xianxia screamed, "Mom!" Then she went up, took hold of Ding Qingqing's wrist, who was about to scratch Miss Fang's face. She dragged her away as she turned to Miss Su. "Help us, sister-in-law." She was not a strong woman, while Ding Qingqing was quite strong. She wasn't able to drag her away alone. Only now did Miss Su bring back to herself. She went up and helped. Both of them dragged away Ding Qingqing, who was screaming and shouting. When Ding Qingqing was dragged away, Miss Fong slapped Widow Sun's face 2 times. Xiao Yunduan and his brother helped Miss Fong stand up on her feet. "Mom, what is going on?" Widow Sun decided not to get up. She remained on the ground, crying and cursing. "They are such shameless people. They are bullying a widow like me. I want to die, I want to die." She was already in bad shape, with unkempt hair and red prints on her face and neck. Tears were running down her cheeks, whilst her nose was runny. She looked horrible. Miss Fong spat and cursed. "You shameless bitch. How dare you spread rumors about me? You are a widow, so what? How dare you cry when you spread rumors around? You are the shameless one. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks. Miss Fong started to tell the story in anger. It was a long tale. The first section of the Xiao family had brought many mushrooms home, and the villagers, who saw that they had no problem eating mushrooms from the mountains, also went to the mountains to fetch mushrooms. They got some from the Xiao family first and decided to find the right ones. Miss Fong gave them generously to those who came to the door. But there were so many mushrooms in the mountains, and they were open to everyone in the village. They could never get enough of them. Even the second section of the family and the third section of the family went to find some mushrooms. But they did not want to put much seasoning inside the food, so they did not think they were tasty, thus dropping the idea. They even laughed at the first section of the family for eating horrible things like these. However, all went well until some family got poisoned by the mushrooms from the mountains. Luckily, it wasn't highly poisonous, and they didn't eat too much. The family had abdominal pain, vomiting, and bile came out. After tossing all night, they drank a few large bowls of mung bean soup before getting better. After that, the villagers were too frightened to find mushrooms or try new things. However, Widow Sun kept spreading rumors around the village, saying that it was the first section of the Xiao family who set them up. But for her mushrooms, no one would have got poisoned. So the Xiao family should take responsibility. There had already been many people who were jealous of the Xiao family, and they believed that what Widow Sun said was true. So, they started to complain about the Xiao family. It was true, but for them, no one would have eaten the mushrooms in the mountains. Therefore, it was their fault. The affected family also wanted to get some compensation from the Xiao family. Chapter 116 Reason they had a rich daughter-in-law, didn't they? They must be having a lot of money. That was how those terrible rumors went about. They had not dared to spread the rumor at the beginning, but Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma joined the group, which emboldened them. When Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma failed to take advantage of the first section of the family, they found that Ms. Fang had found her supporter, namely her daughter-in-law. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were very annoyed. With this opportunity in hand, they started to make a big noise. They were not defending the Xiao family at all. Therefore, when the villagers found that the two women from the Xiao family were spreading rumors, the others started to spread even worse and wilder rumors. Miss Fang's friends passed on the message to Miss Fang. Miss Fang was so annoyed. So, she went about in the village and cursed at anyone who said those things to her. After all, she had to catch them right on the spot. She could not just let the rumor spread. Otherwise, it would be her family which would look bad. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Right then, she happened to catch Widow's son, who was the main culprit behind the rumor. Miss Fang and Widow's son had never liked each other, and at this moment, she was taking revenge for all the past doings. Miss Fang gave Widow's son, who was in the middle of making a false claim, a push, and then they started to shout at each other and fight. Miss Fang glanced about and shouted at Widow Sunday, "Are you so stupid? There are many poisonous mushrooms in the mountains, and everyone knows that. We pick mushrooms for ourselves. Who has the say to stop us? No one has set the rules for picking mushrooms in the mountains. It has nothing to do with our family whether others want to get them or not. It's not that people in our family are forcing someone to go up the mountain to harvest. Miss Sun, you slanted mouth, slanted eyes, black heart and liver, a bad stomach woman. Why did you say that Ding Danius family got into trouble because of us? Should our family be responsible for compensation? If you don't tell me a reason today, I will tear your stinky mouth apart." Only now did Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian understand what was going on. How ridiculous. Xiao Yunduan said coldly. "Mom, don't worry, everyone with a wise head would understand what is going on. They won't find the ridiculous thing worth the while." Xiao Xian laughed and said in a mocking tone, "Auntie Sun, it is your fault. You are trying to cause trouble between our family and Ding Daniu. We never offended you before, did we? We eat mushrooms, wild plants and fish and shrimps. We can eat whatever we want. No one can dictate what to do to us, right? We are all adults, and we are not stupid, we know what the reason is. You are so silly to have caused the conflict between us." All the villagers nodded. Some felt guilty and anxious, some were reasonable. True. The matter has nothing to do with the Xiao family. True, they never forced you to eat the mushrooms. Miss Fang sneered. Do you think that she had a brain? If she did, she wouldn't have done something like this. You bitch, stop pretending to be dead. Speak now, speak. Here is the stage for you. Chapter 117 Louder cries, how dare you call me a bully? I can scold you and hit you as much as I want, you have no right to complain about others when you are being a bitch. Miss Fang glared at Widow's son, and intended to kick her. Widow's son was also good at being rude. But she had no way out when she ran into someone like Miss Fang. She was worried about the strength of the Xiao family, and Miss Fang even had a cultivated talent as a son and county magistrate's daughter as the daughter-in-law, so she did not dare to say a thing but started to sob. Disdainfully, Miss Fang said, "Shame on you. You think people would find you pitiful and feel sorry for you because you are crying?" Widow's son cried even more loudly. She was ashamed, angry, and was holding a grudge. But Miss Fang did not care. She did not intend to let her go so easily. It was never easy to get rid of the sin of spreading rumors. If she was too nice, they would continue to bully her. So, she could not stand being at the center of the rumor. Forced, widow's son could not help but collapse. Why are you only targeting me? Everyone is spreading rumors about you. Why do you cling to me? Qiao Xian laughed. How stupid could this woman be? She had just betrayed her accomplices. She added. But my mother-in-law only heard the rumor from you, so it is your fault. You are still trying to cause conflicts between us and everyone else. You must not spread any more rumors, for the sake of morality. All the villagers agreed and started to complain about Widow Sunday. True. She spreads rumors about everyone. How immoral. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, bad woman. Don't talk nonsense when you have no evidence. Widow's son was so angry at the moment. Miss Fong goaded her with a sly smile. True. Otherwise, you can just tell me who is spreading the rumor. Widow's son did not dare to spill any names, in case she offended others. She even regretted having shouted that out loud a while ago. She was feeling so messy inside her head. As she was just in the middle of the mess, Qiao Xian forced her. No telling? Then you are the one creating rumors about everyone. I never knew there was anyone like this in our village. Annoyed, widow's son screamed. It is Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma who did it. They did it, yes they did it. What? Ms. Fong was startled, so was everyone else. It is Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma. Widow's son sneered as she calmed down. She had just revealed Ms. Fang's sisters-in-law to see what could Ms. Fong do about it now. But for these two women, she would not have been caught red-handed by Ms. Fong today. Widow's son thought angrily that Ms. Fong could go to them for justice if she dared. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma both said that you have a rich daughter-in-law, so you pushed away your own family. You are selfish and self-centered, and you must be setting up the trap for the villagers to fetch the mushrooms in the mountains. You have to pay for the consequences. They even said that the first section of the family look kind, but they are actually very greedy. They try to rob their daughter-in-law's dowry, whilst the daughter-in-law is a stupid woman who has been tricked but still treats you well. How funny. Chapter 118. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma. Widow's son decided to spill everything in one go, be it real or false. You goddamn bitch. Miss Fong was about to beat Widow's son out of anger, before she finished her words. Ding Qingqing screamed as she held Widow's son in her arms. Mom. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan stopped Ms. Fong directly. Qiao Xian said gently, Mom, these words are ridiculous. Widow's son is used to causing conflicts between people, and now they are trying to separate our family. I am not stupid. I can tell who treats me well and who doesn't. How ridiculous. I am not lying. It was Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma who said it. Hey you two, don't you dare run away. Widow's son screamed at the top of her voice, as she saw Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma among the crowd. The crowd turned to the direction she was pointing towards. The villagers around Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma retreated backward subconsciously, so the two women stood out directly. You too. Ms. Fong glared at them too, looking really furious. With teeth clenched, she asked word by word. Is Widow's son speaking the truth? I, God and Buddha in heaven, anyone who dares to lie will bring bad luck to the whole family. I can swear to God that I did not lie, do you dare to? Widow's son, who had successfully switched the conflict, decided to put all the blame to the two women. Before they said anything, she screamed and stopped them with her poisonous oath. You are just talking nonsense. Widow's son sneered. I am not lying. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. It was time for her to feel proud. She was going to see how the three of them fought with each other. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were dumbfounded. They could definitely counter her, but Widow's son's vow was too fierce for them to cook up any lies. Actually, Miss Fong knew that the two sisters-in-law of hers were spreading rumors, except the one about dowry. These two sisters-in-law of hers dared to say everything. They were so used to taking advantage of the first section of the family, that they got angry when they found that they were no longer able to take advantage of them. It was as if the first section of the family owed them something big. That was why they vented their anger in this manner. It was so humiliating when they spat out the family affairs to the whole village. But she had no other way out, now when Widow's son put it out in front of everyone. "You are really nice, aren't you?" Miss Fong sneered. Ms. Miao explained. "This is what the villagers say. I was just making some comments. Also, but for you, why would anyone go and pick the mushrooms? It is your fault. Did I force you to pick the mushrooms?" Ms. Miao snorted. "If you hadn't picked the mushrooms, no one else would have done the same," Xianxia chuckled. "We aren't stupid, are we? Don't we have the ability to choose what to do and what not to do? Are you all going to follow our steps? Ms. Qiao is right. I address you as my sister-in-law and we have always offered so much help to your family. But you are making complaints behind our backs. That is so hurtful. Henceforth, we are not just separate sections of the family, we will live separately too. Don't come to our door whenever you feel like it from now onwards." Ms. Miao and Ms. Ma looked timid, unconvinced, yet they did not dare to utter a sound. Chapter 119 Daughter-in-law. There was no need to conceal anything, when the affair was already revealed to the whole village. Miss Fong added. "You think that I am coaxing my daughter-in-law for her dowry? Have you personally witnessed that?" Ms. Miao and Ms. Ma became even more furious. Ms. Ma said, "After Miss Qiao becomes part of your family, you always have new clothes to wear, meat to eat, and wagons full of stuff. They are all bought by Miss Qiao." "That is true." Xiao smiled. "I can do whatever I want with my dowry. Mom treats me well, and I love to buy those for her, so what? If you don't feel that is fair, you can get a good daughter-in-law for yourself as well." Everyone started to laugh. After that, everyone felt jealous as well. Miss Fong was so lucky as to get a daughter-in-law like that. She was the ideal one. Xianxia could not help but turn to Xiao. Excitement arose in his eyes, and he could not help but feel gentle towards this woman next to him. "You," Ms. Ma almost wanted to spill blood out of anger. "You ungrateful girl. I am doing this for your sake. You have been tricked. Just see what will happen when you lose all your dowry. That is not your business anymore." Xiao smiled. "I can earn money when I run out of my dowry. Moreover, I have my husband with me, right?" Startled, Ms. Ma suddenly realized that Xiao had already become a cultivated talent. He had a promising future ahead. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. No, that was not possible. Xiao must have had dumb luck to have become a cultivated talent. It was because Lu Lang had gotten sick and he took his position. He was definitely not going to have a promising future. Lu Lang had said that Xiao was never good at studies, and the teacher never spoke highly of him. It must have been the ancestral blessings that helped him obtain this position, and he was never going to make it to the next level. Ms. Ma could not help but say angrily, when she thought of how her son had not even made any progress in studies. You can never know what is going to happen in the future. Maybe, despite what she was thinking, she did not dare say anything bad about Xiao, in case Miss Fong tore her apart and their elder brother would also give up helping them either. Therefore, she had to put it in an implicit way, indicating that it was Xiao who was not clear-minded enough. Xiao smiled even more freely. "Yet again, it is not your business, second aunt-in-law. I am so happy to have a mother-in-law like this, who is like no one else, who might even cause me to lose my dowry." Villagers burst into laughter. Everyone present understood what Xiao was saying, and she was right. Those were true words. "You." Ms. Mang got so annoyed. Miss Fong was no longer as angry as before, when she heard what Xian said. She felt proud to have a daughter-in-law like this, who was helping them make a fortune and even managed to keep peace in the family. Suddenly, Ms. Fong did not feel like going any further with Ms. Niu or Ms. Ma. They were just jealous of her. The more jealous they were, the better life they would live. That was the biggest revenge she could take on them. She was going to make them even angrier. Good girl, I know you are the best. You are our lucky star, and you have brought a great fortune to our family. You will get better and better. These jealous ones can wait and see, right? Chapter 125. On Ms. Fong glanced at Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma, snorting. I can tell that you never treated us well, since you have spread rumors such about us. In that case, we will not hang out so often. How shameless you are to have paid this kind of respect to us, who helped you before. Just try to save some face for yourself. Ms. Fong snapped at Widow Sunday, you bitch, keep your mouth shut. If I hear anything more about this matter, I will tear your mouth apart. Let's leave. Ms. Fong left with her sons and daughters-in-law happily and proudly. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma glared at Widow's son and left in embarrassment. Widow's son cursed out loud for a bit and then went home with her daughter. Back at home, Ms. Fong let out a sigh of relief and said with a cold face, just listen carefully, don't you show a smile to the second section of the family and third section of the family anymore. They are such ungrateful people. I will never share any food with them in the future. How dare they try to take advantage of me? Xian tried to console Ms. Fong, and distracted her by discussing the preparation of festivals. Yunduan tried to speak with Xian, but then decided not to. Xian leaned forward and asked him with a smile. Anything you want to say, darling? Yunduan. She was calling him darling so naturally. It sounded really nice. Don't be mad about what was being discussed about your dowry. What? I am not. Xian smiled. My dowry is not valuable. Anyways, I am prosperous now. And, we will get wealthier in the future, won't we? Yunduan smiled and nodded with the load going off his heart. True. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Xian smiled. If I am not as wealthy in the future, I will turn to you for money. You have to create some wealth too. Yunduan could not help but feel his heart throbbing. As he saw her sparkling in black, large eyes, he nodded. Of course, my earnings are all yours. I need to study now, I am going now. He tried to calm himself down as he left, making Xian chuckle. Fight on, darling. Yunduan almost tripped over. In the afternoon, when eldest uncle returned home, he looked very happy. He said with a smile, I just ran into my brothers. They said that we can celebrate the festival together tomorrow. We are eating at second brother's home tomorrow night, all of us. What? Ms. Fong was startled. Eldest uncle seemed to show off when he walked in, speaking loudly. Both Xian and Yunduan heard him, and everyone was really surprised. Sanlang responded with a sneer. Dad, are you sure? You couldn't have heard it wrong, could you? It is such a rare event that second uncle invited us. During the past few years, the three sections of the family gathered for dinner at the first section of the family, and it had always been the first section who treated them all. The other sections had never offered even a single grain of rice. Sometimes they even complained about the size of the chickens, which were not enough for them. It was so surprising that the second section of the family would offer to treat them to dinner. What are you talking about? You should be careful with your words, you bridegroom-to-be. Eldest uncle glared at Sanlang angrily and then said with a smile, I told you that they are not that stingy. They are treating us to dinner. Chapter 121. Bad people. Ms. Fong, he is really treating us to dinner, and he also said that we can just go there without bringing anything over. They are so kind. Don't say anything bad about them anymore, okay? Eldest uncle was so emotional when he spoke. This was exactly what he had been looking forward to. The whole family was in harmony and no one was taking advantage of each other. It was so nice. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan exchanged a look and understood why the second section of the family was suddenly asking them to eat dinner together. Qiao Xian pursed her lips and whispered, "I am not going, it is really dangerous." Xiao Yunduan said, "Don't worry, Mom won't." Before Xiao Yunduan finished his words, Miss Fang snorted and said harshly, "You can go there if you want to. Ask your children if they want to." "I am not going though, I don't want to die there." "What are you talking about?" Eldest uncle was surprised. He was so disappointed and felt as if cold water had been poured over his head. He shared this good news as soon as he walked in. He was in a hurry to highlight that his brothers were actually nice. He had not expected that Miss Fang would react like this. "You must go. You said that they were stingy, but now you don't want to go when they are inviting us to dinner. You are such a piece of work." Eldest uncle was really displeased. "Dad, you don't know what happened today? I guess that is why second uncle wants to treat us to dinner." "We better not go there," said Xiao Yunduan. Eldest uncle was surprised. "What happened?" Miss Fang sneered and narrated the whole story. She had intended to tell eldest uncle about what happened today, irrespective of whether there was any invitation for dinner. She had gone through the story numerous times in her heart, so she finished the tale smoothly and fast. Eldest uncle. He was totally dumbfounded. He felt that the head was buzzing. Before he was able to think about it, he spilled out, "That can't be possible. Is there a misunderstanding?" "A misunderstanding?" Miss Fang's voice arose as she said angrily, "The whole village heard them, and they admitted it in front of the whole village. Now you are saying that it is a misunderstanding? In your eyes, everyone else is nice but me, right? I am a bad woman, am I?" No, that is not what I mean. It is just," eldest uncle could not utter a word. He felt so messed up in his heart. How could that be possible? How could they do something so hurtful? Miss Fang answered coldly, "From today onwards, I am not going to get involved with them. Moreover, they are never going to get anything from me. I would rather throw everything in the water than share it with them." Eldest uncle opened his mouth but said nothing. But later in the evening, second uncle and third uncle came over, reminding them about the dinner. Eldest uncle was at a loss. He had no idea how to turn them down. He had never refused them before either. He was about to agree subconsciously. But Miss Fang turned them down directly. "We have food at home. We will not be going over to your place. I can't afford to eat at your house ever." Chapter 122. Elder sister-in-law's second uncle was not so confident anymore. He smiled and coaxed her. "What are you talking about, elder sister-in-law? We are a family. We live separately." Miss Fang sneered. "No one in our family is like this." Countered by Miss Fang, second uncle could not hold the pleasant expression anymore. He snapped angrily. "Elder sister-in-law, what are you talking about? We all make mistakes. Ms. Niu has learned from her mistake and she is going to correct herself in the future. We are expressing our regret through dinner tomorrow night. You can't just ignore our sincerity." "True," third uncle added. "Ms. Ma is apologetic about her mistake as well. She is not going to make the same mistake ever again. She likes to spread rumors, but she is not a bad person. Same goes for Ms. Niu. Elder brother, just talk to elder sister-in-law. We are a family, and we will become a laughing stock for others around us, if we are not in a harmonious relationship." "True, elder brother." Both second uncle and third uncle understood clearly what the eldest uncle wanted. They knew how to make him feel soft-hearted. They kept installing ideas into eldest uncle by saying sorry and how terribly they had behaved. Eventually, eldest uncle sighed. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma spread too much gossip. You have to watch out for them so that they won't make the same mistake again. I can drop it this time, but I will tear their mouths apart, if it happens ever again. Ms. Fong snorted. But we are not going to have dinner with you. We are siblings, but we need to have a clear account. We have our own children and grandchildren, and we should keep the matters separated clearly. We are not taking advantage of your families, and you should never take advantage of us either. Not ever. We are going to live separately. Second uncle's and third uncle's faces changed. Elder sister-in-law, you are still blaming us? Ms. Fong replied. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma hurt us so badly, why can't I remember this matter? Ms. Fong did not want to ignore that, no matter what second uncle and third uncle said. She was still being reasonable by being polite. But if she gave in any further, it would be much harder for her to defend herself in the future. The second section of the family and third section of the family were trying to set her up. Their behavior was so annoying, especially when it came to the rumor that she was trying to get daughter-in-law's dowry. Ms. Fong had been a strong woman all her life. She just could not stand this accusation. Both Xiao Dalong and Xiao Yunduan were silent. They were apparently taking Ms. Fang's side. Eldest uncle intended to say something, but he had no one behind his back. Second uncle and third uncle left the first section of the family with sunk faces. How difficult it is to pursue a narrow-minded woman like this. Just drop it for now. We can talk about it in the future. Despite the anger, the two men did not think that Ms. Fong would stick to that attitude throughout her life. They had a long way ahead of them. When the two uncles left the first section of the family, everyone at home went down to their own business. They behaved normally, as if what had just happened was not so important, and as if no one cared about that. Eldest uncle felt weird inside his heart. He tried to talk it through, so that he could offer his brothers a chance of correcting their mistake. But he did not get that chance. When the two uncles returned to their home, they blamed their wives for letting the rumor be heard by Ms. Fong. She is the type who takes revenge, got it? Now she has this issue in her hands. With this, she can do whatever she wants in the future. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were very annoyed as well. They did not mean to let the rumor spread. It was just a small talk. But for some reason, it sounded really big and bad in front of others. Ms. Fong must have done it on purpose. Also, widow's son was the main culprit. But for her big mouth, nothing like this would have happened. That bitch was definitely going to be disciplined. Chapter 123. Shameless. On other hand, when Ding Qingqing and widow's son rushed home, they hugged each other and cried loudly. Widow's son was so annoyed. She kept cursing behind the door, whilst Ding Qingqing continued to cry. The mother and daughter were living alone, so they felt isolated, in fights and arguments. Mom, just don't get involved with those women who gossip. Ding Qingqing suggested. She felt so ashamed about what happened to them today. But widow's son, who was feeling annoyed, got further angry when hearing what Ding Qingqing said. She gave Ding Qingqing a poke on the head. You are terrible as a daughter. I am doing all this for you. Otherwise, what am I doing in this broken village? Ding Qingqing got so upset that she shed tears. She just could not understand why this was for her sake. Widow's son could not stop when she started to curse. You must be dreaming about Xiao Yunduan, aren't you? He is already married, so what are you fantasizing about him for? He is a cultivated talent, but he is never going to make it further than that. Ding Qingqing could not help but cry harder. No. You know that he is already married. What more can I do? You look down at cultivated talent, but who can be better than him? Ding Qingqing sobbed and went into the room, shutting the door behind. She really liked Xiao Yunduan. She had liked him since she was little. He was different from the other men in the village. He was quiet and clean, good-looking as well. She knew that he was a class apart. Look at what he had achieved. He became a cultivated talent at such a young age. But her mother did not like Ms. Fong, and when she mentioned that she wanted to marry him, her mother disapproved of it. When he made it to the cultivated talent level, she got so happy that she wanted to share this with her mother, and maybe her mother would change her mind? But before she was able to share the idea with her mother, he got engaged and soon married the daughter of the county magistrate. She spent the whole night crying in her blanket on his wedding day. She had no hope to be with him anymore. After that, she barely went out, and she almost never saw him. Unexpectedly, they met under such circumstances. She got so nervous upon seeing him, but she felt even sadder. His wife was born in a rich family. How could she have compared to her? Also, her mother had such a row with his mother. The more she thought about this, the sadder Ding Qingqing felt. It was a dark night. Silence dominated the whole village. Everyone had gone to bed. A black silhouette came to Widow Sun's doorstep, glanced about and gave a push to the door. He flashed inside and chained the door from inside. After they had a good time together, Widow Sun leaned in his arms, speaking through clenched teeth. Miss Fong is horrible. You have to help me. The man hesitated but then consoled her. She is a bitch, what are you stuck with her for? I am here to be with you. You said that you need a silver hairpin. I have got it here with me today. Widow Sun was overjoyed, but still felt quite upset. No, that is not enough. Are you afraid of them? Of course not. Then take revenge for me, otherwise I will not feel better inside my heart. Chapter 124 Chance. As the proverb goes, the county magistrate isn't that useful. Even if they have a daughter of the county magistrate and a cultivated talent, so what? You will always have the chance to bring them down. You can destroy them all, and they would not be able to do anything about it. The man frowned even more deeply, and turned impatient. Seeing that she did not want to give up the topic, the man said with a smile, Okay, I promise you that I will teach them a lesson, whenever I have the chance. You have to find the chance. Okay, baby, let's just drop this topic, we can just, what? Oh, it was the Dragon Boat Festival. Early in the morning, Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan went out together. They went to watch the boat race in the county. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were excited and would have liked to follow along but Miss Fong turned them down ruthlessly. There were too many people at the race. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian would not be able to take care of them. What if something happened to them? The brother and sister did not insist either. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian took the bullock cart and went to the Yunshui River located in the south of the town. The Yunshui River was a major river and it was flowing across the whole town. The race was taking place on the broad side of the river, which was the best position for the race. There was nice scenery around, and people often came here to ride horses and have fun, especially in spring. When the two of them arrived, there were already many people on both sides of the riverbank. It was bustling, and people were well dressed. They started to talk and cheer around, making comments. It was the first time for Qiao Xian to experience such a bustling scene. She got really excited to be here. Her eyes were large and sparkling. She looked around curiously. Although there was no other entertainment in this era, the nature was pure and green, and she felt so happy to see all of this. Looking at her enthusiasm, Xiao Yunduan subconsciously slowed down and gave her a tour around, whilst thinking inside his heart, what a pitiful girl. She must have never been out in the town till now. After a while, the two of them were united with those from the school. Apart from Xiao Yunduan, some of the fellows also had their family members with them and they greeted each other. Qiao Xian looked very pretty and behaved amicably. She stood out among everyone else, who knew about her background. So, they sized her up curiously and glanced at her on the sly. Most of them could not help but feel jealous and envious of Xiao Yunduan. Honestly, Madame Qiao and County Magistrate Qiao had never revealed what Xiao Xian had been through before she got married. After all, it was related to their reputation. Therefore, all they knew about her was that she had a noble background. Xiao Lulang felt even worse inside his heart. Some of his fellows liked to tease him because they knew that he was narrow-minded. They kept saying that Xiao Yunduan was lucky and talented, and that he was going to have a promising future. That made Xiao Lulang feel even more jealous. He swore to himself that he was going to bring down Xiao Yunduan on the occasion of couplet making today. He was going to let everyone understand that he was more talented than Xiao Yunduan, who had only pure luck on his side. Chapter 125 Face for them soon. Dean Meng and Mr. Zhou as well as Mr. Wu from Minghua College came over as well. All of them looked really excited. I did not expect that Officer Qiao would be here. He is hosting a banquet with County Officer Zhang ahead. Let's all go and celebrate with them. Oh yes, Madam Qiao and Lady Qiao are both here, so all of you should behave yourselves well. All the disciples looked both surprised and overjoyed. That is great. Yes, that is such a rare opportunity. Mr. Dean, don't worry, we will all behave well. As they were expressing their excitement, they could not help but look at Xiao Yunduan, and they could not help but feel even more jealous. Xiao Yunduan was Officer Qiao's son-in-law. It must have been for his honor that Officer Qiao had gathered everyone. Qiao Xian followed along with the group. Xiao Yunduan looked at her. He could not help but show worries on his face. Qiao Xian smiled at him and shook her head slightly. Don't worry, they don't want to be humiliated, they wanted to keep their facade and would not do anything to her openly. Officer Qiao was her father, and the whole family was here, so she needed to greet them, no matter what. Officer Qiao was having a great time with the folk, and all the officers were watching the show. But they were in a very good position, where they were separated from the others, with guards standing by so the civilians could remain separated. It was a high spot in that area, where the view was excellent. It was not very close or far away from the bank. It was the perfect place to watch the show, not crowded but bustling. So when the group came to this place, they were far removed from noise. They all went up and greeted the honored guests. Officer Qiao looked chubby and white, wearing a kind and affable smile. He was greeting everyone with politeness, and even chatted for a bit with Dean Meng, who was asked to take the seat. Qiao Xian bowed and greeted them as well. Hello, father, madam. Oh, you are here? Oh, all right. Officer Qiao was surprised to see Qiao Xian here, and he almost burst out the question, who are you? As he looked closer, he noticed that it was the concubine's daughter. Otherwise he would have lost his face in front of so many people. Officer Qiao was very surprised. Somehow he sensed that his daughter seemed to look a bit different from before. No wonder he almost did not recognize her. But that was a momentary thought which did not lead to any further ideas. He barely met this daughter of his before, and did not know well what she looked like. But Madame Qiao's and Qiao Wei's faces changed. Qiao Wei was almost going to snap at Qiao Xian, but for Madame Qiao's reminder. Qiao Xian smiled. You are here too, come and take a seat. Okay, madam. Qiao Xian smiled and behaved gently, walking towards the seat next to Madame Qiao with composure. After she took the seat, she looked up and met Xiao Yunduan's concerned look. She smiled at him, trying to console him. She was right. Madame Qiao would not humiliate her in public. Not everyone from the college had the seat, except for Dean Meng and some cultivated talents. All the others were standing behind the seats. But Xiao Lulang was different. Chapter 126 Young Master Xiao Lulang was not a cultivated talent, but he was Xiao Yunduan's cousin, whilst Xiao Yunduan was county magistrate's son-in-law. Therefore, Xiao Lulang pretended not to know the rules, and took the seat. No one went up to ask him to get up. Qiao Xian soon noticed that on the left side of Officer Qiao, there were two strange young men seated. Both of them were over 20 years old. One looked full of knowledge. He had a noble temperament, holding a folding fan, dressed in white, and was very elegant. The other person was slightly younger. He had handsome features, and a pair of peach blossom eyes, flying diagonally into the temples, long and narrow. He looked bright. He had a smile on his face, giving people a feeling of laziness and arrogance. The royal blue robe with gold trim was very gorgeous, which made him even more eye-catching. Both of them had a very interesting attitude towards Officer Qiao. They were polite, but not flattering. On the contrary, Officer Qiao seemed to flatter the handsome man in white every now and then. By this point, Xiao Xian more or less understood what was going on here. Her father did not like to hang out with common folks. He was focused on getting promoted and becoming rich. He was a very practical person. In the past, he would have never come to watch the dragon boat race. He must be here because of these two men who were interested in the race. He even had Madame Qiao and Xiao Wei with him. So, this young master must be holding a high position. Qiao Ko was also a follower of Xiao Wei, so Qiao Ko would always be with Xiao Wei wherever she was. But, Qiao Ko was nowhere to be seen today. Apparently, Xiao Wei did not need her to be around, and must have stopped Qiao Ko from meeting these two young masters. What if Qiao Ko got in touch with either of them? Xiao Wei would be very displeased. Xiao Xian could not help but smile. That would be an interesting show. Xiao Xian was absolutely right. At this moment in a small room of a small yard, Qiao Ko had finished crying hard. Concubine Du kept consoling her and said, "Don't cry any more, 3rd Mississippi. What if you get swollen eyes? What if Madame Qiao and Elder Miss see you? So what?" Qiao Ko snapped angrily. "Xiao Wei, the bitch is so narrow-minded, selfish and arrogant. She has her own suitor but still doesn't want me to have a good suitor. She doesn't allow me to meet young Master Xia, and also forbids me from meeting young Master Zhang and young Master Zhao. Mom, what should I do?" That white-clothed young master was called Xia Jingrong. He was the lineal elder grandson of the noble family, the Xia family. It was a very prestigious family in the city. He was talented, elegant and handsome. He was not into imperial examinations, but he was not someone to be looked down upon. His lineal grandfather was the former head of the Ministry of Personnel, whilst his father was the left officer of the Ministry of Rights. His mother was County Qingping, the only child of Lord Jian. More than 10 people of the Xia family were working as officers in the capital or some local areas. Moreover, there were endless of them who had achieved the level of recommended man and cultivated talent, but were yet to be granted official titles. That was a huge, noble clan that was far beyond the Qiao family's reach. Therefore, when Xia Jingrong was on a trip in this county with Yuezhing Shao, who was the 3rd young master of the Yuezhing family, an enormous business family, County Magistrate Qiao heard about it and came to greet them happily. The Xia family had a wide network. Although their clan was not based in the capital, they had a huge network in the capital. Therefore, County Magistrate Qiao hoped that the Xia family could help with his transfer back to the capital. He was sure that he could make it happen. Chapter 127 Xiao Ko and Concubine Du. Concubine Du had heard that Xia Jingrong was not yet engaged, and she was very happy about that. Xiao Ko was quite pretty and was also a miss from an officer's family. She should be a great match for Xia Jingrong. Xia Jingrong was now in the county, and she believed that it was a good opportunity for the two of them to get married. Xiao Ko had looked at Xia Jingrong briefly before, and felt so bashful even to think about marrying him. If she could be martially connected to the Xia family and became Xia Jingrong's wife, she would be really satisfied. Xia Jingrong was not into the imperial examinations, but he was already a recommended man. With his talent, he could definitely become a primus easily by exerting a little effort. When they got married, things would be different. By that time, she could try to persuade him towards serious studies, and he would definitely become better. Moreover, he had a great background. If he ever became a primus, he would definitely make it to the highest position in his career. That was a promising future. Both Qiao Ko and Concubine Du had drawn a beautiful picture about his future in their heads. Concubine Du coaxed Officer Qiao, and talked into Officer Qiao's ears. He was moved. However, after speaking with Madame Qiao turned down the proposal calmly. She was not as talkative as Concubine Du and did not make a long speech. All she said was that Xie Jingrong was from a noble family. He was talented, good-looking, and his grandparents' positions were also high. He was even qualified enough to marry a princess, or some noble miss from a prestigious family. Why would the Xie family allow him to marry a mere concubine's daughter? She had heard that young Master Xie had a very high standard towards his future wife, and that was why he had not gotten married till date. Would Xiao Ko be capable enough to be a match for him? They could not risk it. Only then did Officer Qiao realize what was going on. He was taken aback. He lectured Concubine Du severely, who had been waiting for his news outside. She almost caused him a lot of trouble. Concubine Du knew that it must have been Madame Qiao who created the disruption. She was angry and furious, but could do nothing about it. The marriage would not work out, if the madam of the family disapproved of it. Qiao Ko was very annoyed too. She had assumed that with Qiao Xian's help, it seemed as if she had had a good position in the family. She even sneaked out just to run into Xie Jingrong and Yue Xiao. However, Xie Jingrong and Yu Xiao returned to the hostel, after Officer Qiao's persuasion. Madame Qiao sneered and told Officer Qiao what happened. Officer Qiao got so furious that he slapped hard on Qiao Ko's face, grounding both her and her mother. He was worried that Xie Jingrong would get angry about it, so he asked Xie Jingrong and Yue Xiao to watch the race, as a way of compensation. Qiao Wei kept sneering at Qiao Ko. She told her about the race, and then mocked her. Do you think you are good enough for young Master Xie? Concubine Du even asked Madame Qiao to take Qiao Ko along for the race, but her request was turned down. They were both really furious and sad, sitting at home. The race started soon. With Officer Qiao present here, the prize had to be good. Officer Qiao expressed that the grand prize would be a roasted pig and goat, and the winning team would share the prizes. In addition, the winning team would be granted 2 liang. The prize was extremely luxurious. Chapter 128 praises every team spared no efforts for the race this year, and the civilians were all very excited, cheering along the banks. With the order put forward, the sound of drums was violently falling like raindrops, and the dragon boats that were ready to go like an arrow from the string, rushed forward across the water. The civilians on both sides were cheering in excitement, loudly. The boats were speeding, chasing one after another. It was a great scene. Qiao Xian was watching with a lot of concentration, and she almost clapped in excitement, but for the place she was seated at. Qiao Wei rolled her eyes as she saw how Qiao Xian got excited about the show. How narrow-minded and stupid. Qiao Xian blinked her eyes and turned to Qiao Xian. What are you talking about, sister? Qiao Wei sneered and said, I am speaking highly of you. Qiao Xian got excited and replied cheerfully, as her clear-looking eyes sparkled. Thank you, sister, I think highly of you too. Qiao Wei got furious. You. Just drop it. Madame Qiao turned to Qiao Xian, and gave her a warning suggestion. Just watch the show and don't talk. Okay, mother. Qiao Xian smiled, looking obedient. Madame Qiao sneered inwardly. She somehow felt that she had been making no efforts to tease this woman. This bitch seemed to get so increasingly annoyed after she got married. She used to be so obedient in the past. Was she thinking that she was a broken jar and she did not need to care about anything? Qiao Wei was even more furious. She was always the dominator among the 3 sisters, and could always do whatever she wanted. Now she had been set up by Qiao Xian, who might have had no idea that she had set her up. But she was still really furious. She found that she had been tricked. The race went on. Although this section of the river was wide, it was obviously impossible for a total of 26 dragon boat teams to line up all at once. Therefore, the preliminary competition was divided 4 times over. Each time the first place would be rematched to compete for the top spot. The whole process of the game was very lively and intense. When everyone watched the game, they even wrote poems to add to the fun. County Magistrate Qiao learned that Xie Jingrong was very talented, and that he loved to write poetry too. So he exchanged a few words with Xie Jingrong and then gave some regards to County Officer Zhang. County Officer Zhang said loudly, "Today is the Dragon Boat Festival, which coincides with this lively event. We can't have fun without poetry. What about we all make some poems for the beautiful scenery around here?" County Magistrate Qiao laughed and added, Yes, County Officer Zhang is right. Dean Meng, don't be restrained, just make some poems, so we can let young Master Xie make some remarks about them. That would be such a great honor." Xie Jingrong felt helpless, but he was a man with honor. Instead of countering him, he lowered his head slightly and said, "Thank you for the compliment, Officer Qiao." Xiao wasn't so happy. He rolled his eyes and said, "Poetry is too complicated, what about making couplets, and it adds much more money?" County Magistrate Qiao was startled, but smiled when Xie Jingrong approved of this idea by default. Good idea. Young Master Yuezheng is right. Let's make couplets." No one knew where young Master Xie was from, but seeing how County Magistrate Qiao treated him, they all believed that he was a big figure. Chapter 129 Not outstanding. County Officer Zhang added, and when Dean Meng agreed, all the disciples started to show off. Someone made the first couplet, whilst the other made the second. All the couplets needed to be related to Dragon Boat. Some were excellent, which were spoken highly of by the others. Couplets included wormgrass for the men, and rush grass for the emperor. Beautiful ladies among grass, pure-hearted scholars of poetry. Dragon boat day and pear flower, summer morning and birds chirping. Hearing the couplets, Xie Jingrong believed that some were almost up to standard, so he made some remarks, causing them to want to make even more. Xiao Lulang had tried to make some couplets but none of them were good enough, failing to catch the attention of County Magistrate Qiao and Xie Jingrong. He felt quite distressed. But when he thought of how his cousin did not make any, he felt encouraged and less distressed. Compared to Xiao Yunduan, he was much better. Motivated, Xiao Lulang decided to scrape his brain to show his talent. In fact, Xiao Yunduan just did not want to make any couplets. He did not like to stand out. Also, Officer Qiao and Madame Qiao did not like him, and Madame Qiao held a grudge against him. In this case, he tried to keep a low profile and stay away from the mess. However, the more Xiao Yunduan wanted to stay low profile, the less he was able to. When countered by Qiao Xian, Qiao Wei had been holding a grudge against her sister and was trying her best to find a way to take revenge for the trap she herself had set. She hated to be talked down to, so she decided to direct her grudge towards Xiao Yunduan. When all the disciples were competing among themselves, only Xiao Yunduan stayed silent. Qiao Wei, of course, did not know that Xiao Yunduan was doing that on purpose. She thought that Xiao Yunduan lacked the knowledge to make any couplets. Therefore, she was going to humiliate this idiot in public. That was like humiliating Qiao Xian. It would make her feel less annoyed. Qiao Wei rolled her eyes, and whispered to her maid, Fendi next to her. The maid turned to Qiao Xian, nodded and went to County Officer Zhang, passing on to him what Qiao Wei had said. County Officer Zhang felt quite embarrassed. He had no idea what was going on inside County Magistrate Qiao's family, but listening to the task assigned, he could tell what was going on for real. He had heard of how Elder Miss normally behaved. The Elder Miss ordered her maid to pass on the message to him that he should come up with a difficult idea for the second Miss husband to make a couplet, so that he could be humiliated. It was such a stupid thing to do. How could he humiliate a county magistrate's son-in-law? The county magistrate would lose his face if his son-in-law was embarrassed. But if he did not obey Elder Miss' order, this narrow-minded woman would tell Madame Qiao, who would ensure that his wife and daughter suffered greatly in the future. Helplessly, County Officer Zhang still decided to do as instructed. He chuckled and turned to Xiao Yunduan. Cultivated talent Xiao, you seem like a talented person, why don't you make a couplet for us to read? Chapter 130 Elder Miss Qiao's request. Everyone was startled. But they did not think that County Officer Zhang was setting up a trap for Xiao Yunduan. Instead, they believed that County Officer Zhang was helping Xiao Yunduan to stand out, so that he could behave well in front of the public. They could not help but feel jealous again. This man had found a huge shelter for himself. Look at him. After he became related to the county magistrate, even the county officer was trying to help him. That was what Xiao Lulang thought as well. He felt more jealous than anyone else. Xiao Lulang threw a look at Xiao Yunduan, but smiled. County officer, my cousin isn't so good at it. What about me doing it in place of him? County Officer Zhang was startled, and Xiao Yunduan fell into silence. He also wished that Xiao Lulang could stand out for him. However, Qiao Wei was not pleased. She said loudly, that doesn't work. You aren't part of our family, you can't replace him. What about you making a couplet instead? Qiao Wei turned to Qiao Xian and smiled. She looked intimidating. Qiao Xian only had a little knowledge about characters, and she had never learned how to write poetry or lyrics, nor had she been taught how to play the zither, chess, or write calligraphy or draw. It would be great to see her humiliated in public. No one dares to utter a sound anymore. That was Elder Miss Qiao's request, which no one dared to counter. Yuezheng Xiao couldn't help but snort, but he was very interested in watching the show. Xia Jingrong could not help but glance at Xiao Wei, thinking that this Elder Miss Qiao was so stupid. She had showcased her real intentions. But did she realize that if she humiliated her sister in public, her father would be humiliated too? It seemed that Officer Qiao wasn't so good at governing the family. He was suddenly reminded of another Miss Qiao whom he ran into, and he felt even worse about this family. Officer Qiao's face had sunk. He raised his eyebrows and glared at Madame Qiao. But Madame Qiao did not catch his message, since she was concentrating on something else. Officer Qiao became even more furious. This daughter of his was too spoiled by her mother, so that she had become arrogant and free-willed. Yes, he was the head of a county. Did that mean she could do whatever she wanted? What about when they went back to the capital? This behavior would bring them so much trouble. He had to discipline her when they returned. Madame Qiao was also sighing inside her heart at the moment. She had spoiled her daughter so much that she could not tolerate a thing. She was venting her anger at the moment. She was just thinking about embarrassing Qiao Xian through her husband, just to make her sad, but what about her father? That bitch was also her father's daughter. Madame Qiao knew that her husband would have given her a warning look, but what could she do right now? Her daughter had already spilled out the request, and anything she did would mean a slap on her daughter's face. There was nothing she could do. She had to pretend not to have caught her husband's message. Hearing that Xiao Wei was trying to humiliate Xiao Xian, he got anxious and angry, so he immediately retorted. Wormgrass in front of households, folks cheer for the race of dragon boats. Sorry, I am not that good at it, but here is your order, county officer. I just made one randomly. Under normal circumstances, when Xiao Yunduan was done making the couplet, the whole thing would be over. But Xiao Wei did not want to drop it. She chuckled at Xiao Xian. It is your turn, sister. Make one to cheer everyone up. Chapter 131. Not her. Xiao Xian was rolling her eyes inwardly. You can't even do that yourself, why forcing me? Xiao Wei, who had been spoiled in the family, was not devoted to studies at all. She was no better than Xiao Xian in talent either. But she was the lineal daughter, whilst Xiao Xian was the concubine's daughter, and at the mercy of Xiao Xian. Hence, she could not use the same request to counter her. Otherwise the whole thing would get worse. Qiao Xian turned to her and said without hesitation, I don't know how to. Qiao Wei was surprised. It was such a straightforward confession made without shame or embarrassment, that Qiao Wei did not know how to react. Women without knowledge are virtuous. I don't know how to make couplets. Qiao Xian added. She had no idea how to, and she was not good at it either. Qiao Wei just could not say anything to mock her, strike her down or humiliate her in this case. All right, Madame Qiao smiled and intervened. Quan Xian is right, women don't need to be good at this. Just drop the topic and watch the race. Yes, watch the race. Officer Qiao let out a sigh of relief and let out a laugh. County Officer Zhang was clever, so he changed the topic directly, followed by all the disciples who continued to watch the race. Finally, the topic was dropped. Qiao Wei threw a glare at Qiao Xian. Her face sank, and she was obviously not convinced. Qiao Xian ignored her. She knew that this sister of hers was so used to being intimidating that she could not change her personality at the moment. But she was very surprised. Her father, who had been dreaming about getting promoted and cared so much about his face, must have noticed the inappropriate behaviors of his daughter. He was surely going to discipline her when they went back home. Xianxia, who was enjoying the show, could not help but throw a few looks at Qiao Xian. He was both interested and surprised. He had witnessed numerous fights between lineal daughters and concubines' daughters. Elder Miss Qiao was obviously trying to humiliate the second Miss and her husband in public, but second Miss was so straightforward about her lack of knowledge that Elder Miss Qiao could not do anything about it. Second Miss cut down the trouble directly. Almost all the concubines' daughters whom he encountered had always been brought down by the lineal daughters. Second Miss of the Qiao family seemed to be quite interesting. This Officer Qiao was even more interesting. He was an officer, and he married this concubine's daughter to an unknown cultivated talent. That cultivated talent was obviously defending his wife, but he did not seem to have a good feeling towards the Qiao family. Xianxia was a bit confused. He had not expected that there would be such a big show in a county magistrate's family. It was almost lunchtime, and the race came to a good end. Everyone waved goodbye to each other. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan left before everyone else did. Had I known that we would run into them, I would not have come here. It is my fault. Xiao Yunduan sounded guilty. I should have known about this before. Qiao Xian was not as angry as before. She smiled and waved her hand. Officer Qiao did not have the interest in watching the show earlier. No one would have predicted that he would be here today. Oh, I really want to eat glutinous rice dumplings at home and barberries. Let's finish our errands and go home. Xiao Yunduan nodded. Okay, let's do it. The two of them went to landowners, hoping to see if there were any good fields available to buy. Chapter 132 Super Luck. The landowner smiled. You are very lucky. Businessman Zhang is in urgent need of money, and he is selling 240 mu of good fields urgently. If you buy them now, you can start to cultivate crops and harvest in autumn. But he is in a big hurry. He needs to have the deal done and paid for in the next 2 days. I was wondering how to contact you, and here you are. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were both quite happy. Qiao Xian chuckled. This is our destiny. That good field is meant to be mine. True. The two of them agreed that the landowner would bring them to have a look at the field the next day, and if they were okay with the deal, they would pay the money and sign the contract right then and there. After they left the landowner, Qiao Xian said to Xiao Yunduan, let's write both our names on the deed, okay? We are still in a joint family and the yield has to be shared with the whole family. But if we live separately in the future, we will still continue to share a big portion with our parents and brothers. Xiao Yunduan was startled. It is your field and you should write your own name on the deed. You can share the revenue portion at your will with the family. Mom is a very understanding woman, and she won't want to take advantage of you. Qiao Xian smiled and fell into a good mood. What super luck she had that she ran into a family like this. Her nature had always been like this. When she was treated well, she would pay those who treated her nicely back even better. She was the one who earned the money, but she could not have earned this amount of money alone. A single woman would not get a position for herself, if she had no one to lean on. They were her shelter and bay, and with their help, she was able to do whatever she wanted. They were helping each other. Just listen to my arrangement, please, said Xiao firmly. Xiao Yunduan opened his mouth and wondered what she meant. These were meant to be her private properties. Why would she not keep them separate? Was she not worried that it would be difficult for her to handle it in the future? Or was she saying that she was not going to leave the family? Xiao Yunduan was not certain, and kept speculating on this matter in his head. Okay, you can take that call, they would think about that later. At Mingren Tang, in the backyard, Manager Qin was receiving Xie Jingrong and Yue Xiao politely. Xie Jingrong was seeking a very difficult medical herb in this county. But he had not yet paid the visit to the best pharmacy in the local area, before Officer Qiao came to his door. At this point, he finally had the chance to conduct his own business. The two sides were just talking, when Yue Xiao saw an employee craning his head. He smiled. Manager Qin, your employee needs you now. Manager Qin and Xie Jingrong turned to look into the direction of the speaker. The employee could no longer hide himself. He took a step forward and smiled with a greeting. Xie Jingrong nodded at Manager Qin. He said politely, please, Manager Qin. Manager Qin smiled but glared at the employee. They had no secret at the pharmacy, and he could just share the message in front of Xie Jingrong and Yue Xiao. Just spill it. The employee smiled. Young Master Xiao and Mrs. Xiao are here to fetch the seeds. They are in a hurry to go home, so I came to urge you. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian had the ability of getting such a large quantity of wild honey and Gastrodia alata for the pharmacy, so they were well received at Manager Qin's place. If those things could be well planted, then the pharmacy would have a long-term deal with them. Chapter 133 Exception. Manager Qin was startled. He smiled. I almost forgot about that. I will be out there soon. Manager Qin turned to Xie Jingrong and said, Young Master Xie, young Master Xiao and his wife should be of great help for you. They live in the countryside, and often go into the mountains. They have brought numerous good things to us. Xie Jingrong and Yue Xiao were startled. Since Manager Qin said so, he must have gotten many excellent things from the couple but did not want to share those. Xie Jingrong said, okay, in this case, let's bring them in here. That is exactly what I mean. Manager Qin chuckled and asked his employee to get the couple in. The employee answered and felt emotional. The couple was so lucky as to have come over at the moment. If the couple managed to help young Master Xie with even a small thing, they would have no worries in their future life. No worries ever. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian, who heard that the manager had already got the seeds for them, were so happy that they decided to buy them and leave quickly. In this way, they could take a look in the market, buy some food and go home soon. But the manager had something else in store for them. When they came to the back hall, all four guests were startled. Cultivated talent Xiao, second Miss of Qiao, what are you doing here? Yue Xiao's eyes widened in surprise. Xiao Yunduan smiled and greeted them. This is quite coincidental. Sorry for the interruption, no, it is no bother. Yue Xiao smiled. I did not expect that Manager Qin meant you too. Manager Qin could not help but smile as well. Since you are all friends, then we can save a lot of trouble. Please, take your seats. Yes. They exchanged greetings and sat down. Manager Qin started the conversation. Soon, Xiao Yunduan turned speechless. Young Master Xie, you are seeking a Chinese fleece flower root over 500 years old, yes. Xie Jingrong said, I don't know much about this county, so I came to the pharmacy to see if there are any contacts that can be used. Manager Qin suggests that you can help, so please, I would like you to help me, and if the deal is done, I will pay you a great amount as compensation. Pharmacies had their own sources of medical herbs. Some were planted inside the pharmacies, or cultivated by medical farmers or imported by herb businessmen. For ordinary medicinal materials, if a villager got 5 or 4 kgs and sold them in a medical store, they would not accept such small things since they had to process the materials, and the volume would be too small for processing. They would not want to do that. But there was always an exception. If rare medical materials were brought to the door, the pharmacies would accept that readily. Some pharmacies would even entrust experienced old hunters and farmers who knew about the mountains to seek rare things. That was why Xie Jingrong came to Mingren Tang. Xie Jingrong was very much respected by people around because he came to the door personally and treated the manager politely, despite being a man from a highly noble family. Xiao Yunduan replied politely. Thanks young Master Xie, we can definitely help you if we have the chance. But a Chinese fleeceflower root over 500 years old can be difficult to find. Xie Jingrong smiled and sighed. I know, just do your best, that would be enough. Chapter 134 Pause. Qiao Xian smiled and said to Xiao Yunduan, Darling, Chinese fleeceflower root is a very commonly seen thing. Although it isn't available everywhere, it is not so difficult to find. Since you have asked for it, young Master Xie, we will definitely give it our best. It was a favor being sent to the door. It was just a Chinese fleeceflower root over 500 years old. They could simply go into the mountains to seek for that with her superpower, one mountain after another. They would always find it. She could even find one which was 300 or 400 years old, and with her superpower, she could urge it to grow faster so the plant became 500 years old. Young Master Xie was a person whom even her father was afraid of. So, he must be a very important figure. She had to cozy up to him who was so powerful. It would be a pity to let go of this chance. Hearing what Xiao Xian said, Xiao Yunduan almost burst out in helplessness. She was lucky, indeed, but she should not be this arrogant. After all, luck was an uncertain thing. It could not be touched or felt. Who could predict what might happen next? But he did not counter her when they were facing outsiders. He was worried, though, that she would say something that could not be realized, so Xiao Yunduan added. Yes, we will surely try, but we can't guarantee a good result. Xiao looked at both of them and then finally at Manager Qin. This couple looked to be quite unreliable. They seemed too indifferent when they spoke about this matter. Manager Qin, however, was very confident about the couple. He added with a smile. Yes, yes, please, young Master Xiao and Madam Xiao. Just go and do the needful. I will be waiting for your good news. By this point, even Xie Jingrong found that they seemed unreliable. He thought that it would always be better if they could entrust Manager Qin to find some other helpers as well. There were many mountains in the county and the possibility seemed relatively small of just 2 people finding the requisite route. We will, said Xiao Yunduan as he got up, saying goodbye to them. Manager Qin did not keep them, but asked his employees to open the door to fetch the seeds of Noto ginseng and false starwort for them. Qiao Xian looked at Xie Jingrong and Xiao, not knowing what to say. Manager Qin did not know about her and County Magistrate Qiao's relationship, and she did not want more people to know about this, which might cause trouble. She wondered if these 2 people would spill out her real identity. Xiao noticed her behavior and smiled. Anything you would like to say, Madam Xiao? Qiao Xian smiled. Should we deliver Chinese fleeceflower roots to Mingren Tang directly? Xie Jingrong answered. Yes. Okay, Qiao Xian nodded and said, me and my husband are just common, ordinary villagers in the mountains, and we have no strong background behind us, nor do we know much about what is going on around, but we know what is in the mountains, so we will try our best to find it. Xiao Yunduan instantly understood what Xiao Xian meant. He added frankly. Yes, so please wait for our message patiently, and if the deal fails, please forgive us. That is all. Xie Jingrong and Yue Xiao were both smart men. They thought for a while and eventually understood what the couple meant. Yue Xiao laughed involuntarily. No worries. Chapter 135. An image. Yue Xiao got even more curious. What was going on with County Magistrate Qiao's family? Manager Qin was not aware of Second Miss' real identity. This Second Miss did not seem to care about being married to a farmer's family, and even offered to look for Chinese fleeceflower roots. Could she be the county magistrate's real daughter? Or was she raised in the countryside? Could she really do it? Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan let out a sigh of relief, leaving directly. Darling, this is a great opportunity, let's go and buy some food to celebrate. Qiao Xian was very happy. Xiao Yunduan did not want to discourage her, so he nodded. Yes, let's just try our best. If the deal was accomplished, it would be a huge favor they would have done for the powerful people. If not, they would have to accept it frankly. They could not be afraid of being defeated, otherwise they would be very sad if they failed. They needed to stay calm. Qiao Xian bought pork belly, ribs, 2 fat ducks, a roast chicken, some snacks, and head flowers for Tao Tao and Xiao Qing. When she was done shopping, she started to head home with Xiao Yunduan. At Mingrantang, Xie Jingrong still asked Manager Qin to entrust several more hunters and experienced veterans in the mountains for help, before leaving with Yue Xiao. Yue Xiao could not help but laugh. Officer Qiao's family is quite interesting. Look at that Second Miss, she is more than ordinary. Then he laughed as well. Honestly, I have never met any concubine's daughter like her. Xie Jingrong frowned slightly as he turned to him. The Qiao family isn't a family with integrity, let's just drop it. But the Second Miss seems quite different. Not that he really cared how she was. He was definitely going to return her favor, if she was able to find Chinese fleeceflower root over 500 years old. That was all he could do, since he was not interested in the Qiao family. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan traveled home leisurely on his bullock cart. The cart moved very slowly. While they were on the cart, they could notice what was going on around them. When they found a tall, young man lying in a coma in the grass on the roadside, they could not help but stop, exchanging a look between themselves. Hang here, let me go and have a look, Xiao Yunduan said. Let me go with you. Okay. The couple wanted to save people. Otherwise they would feel really uncomfortable afterwards, and would never be able to get over the lump. Qiao Xian went down the cart and wondered what happened to the man. Xiao Yunduan came to the man's side, felt his nose and sighed in relief. He is still breathing, he should be fine. Come, help me pick him up. Okay. The couple spared no effort to help this tall man up. He was leaning against Xiao Yunduan. Suddenly, Qiao Xian felt stiffened, and started to turn dizzy. In front of her eyes, like a revolving lantern, a fragmented but clear picture appeared. In the desert and yellow sand, the flags and banners were floating in the wind, the generals looked majestic and there were thousands of troops behind them. The general returned triumphantly, and when he entered the city, the crowd was surging, and the people and officials shouted loudly. In the Golden Throne Hall, the old emperor laughed heartily. He conferred the title and rewarded the general. There were about 10 pictures, each of which was not connected, but the general in each picture was the same person, and the appearance of that person closely resembled the man in front of them. Actually, they were the same person. You're tuning into the Carefree Valley YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.